my mother-in-law out of my house, but she just won't go. Get her out of there. I, 29 female, and my fiance, 29 male, live in a 3-bedroom house for 3 years now. We used to rent, but when we got pregnant, we decided we were in our best financial state to get a mortgage. My parents and his parents gave us some cash to help with the down payment of our house, and we bought a house. Anyway, my fiance renovated the house, and it is now in excellent condition. By the way, this comes from Crazier Mom 808, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Sophia.
And I'm Angie.
NOP says, after a year, my future mother-in-law and father-in-law decided to move in with us for a year, as my father-in-law would like to travel 6 months a year overseas to visit his mom and deal with some stuff. When they moved, they completely took over my kitchen, changed my plates, and put away my appliances to use theirs, used their dining table, used the living room without considering other people. By this, I mean changing the show if I paused it to go pee, and overall just using it as if they owned the house, not even considering that we have a 1-year-old living in the house. What are you doing?
It's
not
this?
your house.
Oh, let me stay with you and bring in a second dining table.
That's crazy. You can't just bring in a second dining table.
My goodness.
I've talked to them about it, but they just brush me off or say, yeah, but still use their stuff or do whatever they want again. A year from when they moved in has passed, and they haven't moved out yet. And my father-in-law has been traveling back and forth, and my mother-in-law is being like a queen, where I have to look after her dishes, hang her laundry, clean her bathroom, etc. There were some small habits that are driving me insane. She also tries to subtly be witchy to me, and I've been keeping it all in. A few months ago, my sister visited for an event and has told us that my mother-in-law was saying that they should be able to live here as they lent us cash and also to help us with the child. She's tried to pay rent, but it's never consistent, and she's not very good with finances. She will prioritize a trip with her friends instead of paying to go to the doctor. This drives me nuts, as this was not true. They sporadically help us with taking care of the child, but we also didn't know that the cash was only a loan, as they didn't tell us that. So my fiance and I decided that we're going to pay it all off, and we finally did. My fiance has been very supportive of me, but also feels bad for his parents, as he's an only child. I am pregnant the second time around now, and we would like to use the third room for my baby boy. My in-laws' room. They need to move out. You've got 2 kids now.
Yeah, that's a perfect excuse to kick someone out.
Hey, I got 2 kids now. You gotta go.
Sorry, baby's gotta use your room. No more room for you.
No more room. The rooms are small, so we definitely cannot fit 2 single beds in one room. My first child is a girl, and she already sleeps by herself, and we decided having another baby sleep in her room will disrupt her sleep pattern, especially because the room is small and could not fit another bed, only a small cot. We've tried to talk to my in-laws, but they're only saying they'll move soon, maybe in 3 months or maybe next year. And that's when you say, no, you're moving now.
Yeah.
You're moving right now.
If 3 months is possible, then that's what it's going to be.
Yeah, you're going to be moving in 3 months, or I'm literally taking all of your stuff and throwing it in the trash.
It's such a big jump. Maybe 3 months, maybe
like
a year. Maybe 3 to 12 months.
Yeah, we don't know. My fiance has also been asking them a lot, but he doesn't get clear answers. So I'm wanting to intervene, as they rarely tell me any of their decisions, even when I'm physically in front of them. I've asked advice from my parents, and they're saying I should try to be more lenient, as it might cause some drama if I give them a final date to move out. So I'm wondering, would I be the a-hole if I give them 3 months to move out? 3 months after my baby is born. And there are some comments. Comment 1, it's not your job. It's your husband's job. He should be the one to tell them to move out and to give them a definite date before the baby is born. They said a year. It's been a year. You've paid back the money. That's it. Done and dusted. Goodbye. I've been keeping it all in. You could just not do that. Let them know how you feel in the moment. You're going to be painted as the bad guy anyway, so lean into it. Comment 2, they have no plans to leave. They lied from day one. You are their retirement plan. This is your life. This is what some older parents are like. They're all entitled and selfish and believe their adult kids owe them. This is who you, unfortunately, have for in-laws. Time to stand up for yourself and stop being a doormat to those users. You also have a major fiance problem because he's allowing this. Absolutely. This is because he won't kick them out. He's more concerned with feeling bad for his parents than for you. I'm sure he's seen how his mother has been treating you as a mere maid and has done F all about it. Just allowed it. Ultimatum time. They get out, or you pack up the kids and leave. I hope you have the means to do that. Perhaps it'll take you doing that for him to see he needs to get off his damn butt and start prioritizing his partner and kids instead of being a weak and pathetic mommy and daddy's widow boy, not the a-hole. Dang. Yeah, commenter. You tell him.
You tell him.
There's an update 1 week later. Any thoughts?
I mean, sure. There's, probably a nicer way to say that, but like, whatever.
But you know what? I'm not even I don't even want to say it nicer.
It's kind of right. Yeah, you gotta kind of own up. You're having 2 kids.
You're having 2 kids. They need the space. You need to start acting like a parent and not let his parents bully you around.
Right. Put your kids first, dude.
Taking into account the comments, I sat with my fiance and told him I can't take it anymore. If his parents, don't move out in the next 2 weeks, I will pack my stuff up and my children, and I will live with my parents. And I expect to be paid half of the value of the house. I love my fiance, but I love myself and my kids more, and living in this situation is not good for everyone. He finally put his foot down and told his parents and gave them options on all rental places available. They have started going to inspections, but have no good things to say, so I don't know if they're serious or not. My mother-in-law has started being nice to me, but I know it's just an act. I have slowly packed all their stuff and bought stuff for the house, so all their furniture and appliances are now in the garage. To be sure they took this seriously, I've also packed some of my stuff and my child and unborn child stuff for when I move out in case they don't. I can see my fiance panic, and I'm sad I put him in this situation, but we both know and agree this is all for the best. So thanks, Reddit, and we'll see you in 2 weeks. Oh, and I have stopped all chores I do for them. All I do now is for myself and my kid and fiance only. And I've asked my fiance also not to pick up their slack, too. Update 2. I have a few updates. First, I spoke to my fiance's relative, who he treats as a sibling, and the relative basically told me what most Reddit comments have told me, and has mentioned that fiance is blind to his parents' flaws, as he had only his parents when they moved countries and relied and obeyed them fully when he was younger. But we can now see he has now woken up and has seen that this is not normal behavior. So it does seem like this is probably a lot of cultural kind of reasons behind this, of him like wanting to be there for his parents and
stuff. Which
makes
sense. Yeah, and then moving in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
However, it does not mean that they get to take advantage of you.
Yeah, I mean, usually like when that happens, there's space or there's something that you can do to like make work for everyone to be able to live there. But if the house is just too small too,
it's too small.
It's too small.
Second, we went to couples therapy last week and are planning to continue. Both of us need to communicate more, and fiance broke down as he was really oblivious to his parents using him as an investment, but has now seen their ways. I also want to defend him as I didn't give him enough credit in my previous posts, but he definitely helps me, comforts me, and has gone beyond to support me. Lastly, on my fiance's relatives' point of view, my mother-in-law told them that they were the ones who offered to move out, but we didn't want them to move so they can help take care of the kids. The relative knew this was BS and told her, "Oh, I thought your son needed you out because they need all their rooms now."
Haha.
And mother-in-law was seemingly shocked and just said, "Oh, they will need my help." But now they have moved out.
Oh,
Woo-hoo.
thank goodness.
It was rough. The in-laws were not making it easy. They would go to open houses late, which I think was on purpose to miss it. And my fiance took time off of his 2 jobs to make sure they go check, inspect rentals, and sign on the rentals. And he said there's no stopping until they find one, basically leaving them no choice. So thank God they are officially out. But all of our full episode stories just like this are officially out. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime. There's a little bit left to this story. Any final thoughts?
They're out of here.
They're out of here.
They're
War is
gone.
over.
Congratulations.
Woohoo.
Yeah, I'm glad that other relative was like, that's not what I heard.
I've heard something completely different.
Right.
Interesting.
So glad.
Yeah.
But whatever, dude. They're gone.
Bye.
You don't have to deal with that problem anymore. You
Thank
just have to see
goodness.
them on holidays and stuff.
Yeah.
Which is fine. It seems like, their relationship is fine. It's just this
it's just that they're
situation.
living here.
Yeah, exactly.
But now they're not living here.
Woohoo.
I've changed the locks. We're setting up the nursery, and I can finally breathe. Fiance and I are planning on selling this house and buying another one in a year so that we can start fresh after I give birth and after our wedding without the bad memories of my in-laws in our house. Thanks, Reddit, for being my older sister and brother when my siblings told me to suck it up, as they really don't know how I feel. I can't believe the only one who told me to stand up to my in-laws, aside from you guys, was my fiance's relative. Maybe because they're the only one who truly knew them. I think my son is now ready to come out. And that is the end of that story, folks.
My mom threatened to get rid of my dog, so I finally stood up to her.
I'm just taking the dog, dumbass.
I, 17 female, have a dog whom I keep in the house with my mom, 38 female, and my other family members, which include my dad and older brother. My dog has been sick for a while, and at first my mom refused to give me any money to take her to the vet. She told me I shouldn't have wasted my pocket money. But I don't even get pocket money, except sometimes on special occasions. By the way, this comes from Practical Name 6102, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. And I'm Angie.
I'm Sophia.
We're only going to guess what we would do, but if you have experienced it or you would do something different, let us know down below. So, OP says, I ended up breaking the saving pot I had been using to save money for a laptop, which I filled with money I personally earned. I used it to take my dog to the vet. She got treatment, and it turned out that she was really sick. Now she has medication I have to feed her, and she's been quite tired lately. She's been quiet for about a week. Today, when my mom came home, she was being loud, which alarmed my dog and caused her to start barking. I was sleeping when my mom bombarded my phone with messages saying she'd get rid of my dog if I didn't shut her up. My mom has a tendency to leave my dog outside and then tell me that she gave her away until I'm sobbing. So when I woke up, I immediately took my dog with me while my mom yelled. I told her she was insane for even thinking about doing that and that I'd call the cops if she let my dog loose again, especially since it was raining. Now my mom has been giving me the silent treatment. My dad says that I overreacted and that she was just joking, which is making me second guess myself. Am I the a-hole for saying that I'd call the cops? And there are some comments. Lucky Charm 8020 says, not the a-hole. Hold that dog close. Try really hard to get yourself a job and move away from your abusers as soon as possible. I caution you strongly about calling the cops though, because they may deem your dog to be in an unsafe environment since your mother is the adult in this situation. With regards to the health and welfare of your dog, there are payment plans that you can get at most vet hospitals. So this is why it's massively important that you try to at least get yourself a weekend job to help with that. You're probably on the struggle right now because you're juggling school among other things, which is totally understandable. And I realize that today's current financial landscape doesn't make it easy for a young person to leave home at 18 and immediately find a place to live. My advice to you is either try to move in with another family member if any of them are trustworthy, or get 2 or 3 friends together and rent share. But whatever you do, you need to get away from these child abusers and animal abusers. Best of luck, and please keep us updated. Opie says, I've been looking into moving out after I graduate and moving in with a friend in a different country for university. Thankfully, my grades are pretty high. I have a good amount of volunteer hours, and I play sports for my school, so I have a good chance at a scholarship as well. But even if I don't get a scholarship, I do plan to move out and save up until I can get a higher education. I've been cautious with my dog as well, keeping her close by and having her sleep with me. The same commenter responds, these are all fantastic things, and I honestly wish you the best of luck with it all. Are you able to take Pupper with you when you go abroad? Opie says, yes, of course. I've looked into that as well, and I'm able to take her. My friend also has a dog, so they'll be play buddies too. And OP explains how they got the dog. I got my pup back in 2018 when she was only a few months old. Back then, I was around 11 or 12, I'm not sure. But back then, I had spoken to my parents, and they both agreed to let me get a pup on one condition, that I take her on walks and brush her fur. I agreed to the terms and got my puppy. No one around the house really helped. I didn't expect any help as I personally agreed to having my own pup and taking care of her. And so I basically raised the puppy myself. My parents or siblings were never really involved in taking care of her, other than some days like when I was sick or on a school trip. And even then, my brother took care of her, not my mom.
That's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah.
I don't think it is wrong to expect a child who wanted a pet to like have the responsibility of looking after the pet, but I do think that like if you're the parent, you should be somewhat involved in
Yeah, right?
helping take care of this animal that you brought into your house.
Yeah, exactly. Especially if your kid is 11 or 12 when
Yeah,
they're getting it, it's like you're gonna take care
Yeah,
of that
you're
dog.
gonna forget sometimes, and also a dog is pretty different than like a a guinea pig or a smaller animal that
Yeah,
may have less needs.
right. So I don't see how she could be a burden to my mom other than the occasional barking. She's very well behaved. And we do have another update. Let's go.
I am pretty impressed that this dog is well behaved when OP was like training it as an 11-year-old.
I know, right?
I think if I were an 11-year-old having to train, because I actually got my previous dog Oscar
Yeah.
around when I was 11. And if I had to just train Oscar,
Yeah, yeah.
I'd be like, I don't know, I just give him treats all the time.
Right? I know. I feel like it in the fact
That's
that OP
impressive.
seems to have like hobbies and extracurriculars and stuff.
Yeah.
It's like
While
I feel like
taking care of a dog
yeah,
is
like
a
the
lot.
only way I could do it is if my dog is my one and only hobby,
Truly,
But-
I have to take I've had to take care of Ava a couple times on my own.
Yeah,
And when it's Sam and I, it's a lot easier
sure.
because like if one of us is home, one of us, swap and stuff. But I had to take care of her alone a couple weeks ago,
Yeah.
and it was I was like, oh my god, this is actually there are so many times that I had to leave parties to go
Yeah.
make sure that she was let out and stuff,
Yeah.
and I was very helpful. Fortunately,
I know.
John and Christian were able to help out and stuff
That's good.
in letting her out. But I'm like,
It's a
it's a
lifestyle
full-time
change.
job. Yeah,
for
I'm
real.
like, you can't spend, a lot of time out of the house. You have to come back,
Exactly.
take her on
Exactly.
walks and stuff. It's a big responsibility.
But we do have an update. My sweet girl, she was on the way to her pet grooming appointment, and there's a picture, I believe. Opie says she's a Pomeranian fox face. We have update 2.
Okay.
So, am I the a-hole for telling my parents that I will not be helping them with their rent? So, this is 16 months later. I, 18 female, moved out of my parents' house a little while ago as soon as I could. To provide some context, my parents were both emotionally harmful and have wronged me many times in my life, including threatening to get rid of my dog, which I have a whole post on and we just read. Since I moved out, I've been working a job and paying rent for my apartment and that I share with my friend, and I have had enough money left to save up a bit to go to college in a few years. I'm the youngest in the family, so after I moved out, no one was left at home. Both my siblings had moved out as well. Their financial support from my brother paying them rent for his bedroom has been cut off. I am completely independent and have told my parents multiple times that I want nothing to do with them and even blocked their numbers completely. Wow. Earlier this week, my grandmother called me and explained that my parents desperately need money for rent and asked if I could spare money from my college savings, which I saved up on my own so far. I outright refused and told my grandmother that I would not be helping at all since every penny in my savings is gathered by me working hard and supporting myself. I love my grandmother and told her that if she needed help herself, I was willing to help, but I would not help with my parents. For this entire week, my aunt has been calling me repeatedly, saying that my parents really needed this and deserved it for raising me.
You help them.
That's not how that works. Legally, that's
Nope.
not how that works.
Yeah, legally, Opie does not owe them a penny. And if you want to help them aunt / grandmother,
Yeah,
you give them money.
exactly. My mom's side of the family threatened to cut me off if I didn't help, which is honestly so petty because I'm only 18 years old and they should be helping me instead. Or they should be helping instead. I told my friend about it and she said that I was taking it too far and I should have helped. What? Now I'm wondering if I'm the a-hole. And there are some comments, but I disagree.
I disagree, and I'm wondering if your friend is an 18-year-old who is having her education paid for by her parents.
Good question.
Because I think there is maybe a cognitive dissonance of being like, oh yeah, well, you should just help them out if
Help
they
them
need it. Like, you
out.
can just make more money.
Yeah, it's like, well,
You've saved everything for your college.
Yeah, like don't you know why I'm living here instead of
Yeah.
with them right now?
Also
like
that, yeah.
it's like what? I would be so surprised if they're friends and roommates
Yeah.
and and like don't know this about
Yeah,
OP.
don't know
like,
the backstory of like you cut them off.
Yeah, exactly. And like the parents aren't reaching out. I mean, I know that they were blocked, but like if they were really that desperate, I'm sure they could
Yeah,
find
they'd
a
be
way.
like, I'm so sorry for the way that we treated you, blah blah blah.
Yeah,
but no,
exactly.
they're reaching out for money.
Yeah, so definitely not the a-hole. You cut them off for a reason. And the only reason that they're trying to reach out to you so hard is for money.
Yeah.
That's very telling. So we have some comments. Available Love 7940 says, quote, they deserve it for raising you. No, that's what's legally required. You have children, you raise them. They don't owe you for doing that. Your aunt and your mom's side are all welcome to contribute to rent if they are so concerned. You save up for some therapy as well. And good luck. Not the a-hole. Casual Lore says, not the a-hole. You are doing fantastic. Moved out, saving money for college on your own, cutting off your harmful family. Keep it up. Don't let anyone drag you back into that situation with their petty manipulations. You got this. Opie says, thank you so much. You have no idea how much that means to me. I truly appreciate the kind words from the bottom of my heart. And then King Bretwald says, make sure your parents aren't on your bank account. Have it in a credit union or bank that they've never used if possible. Also, check your credit. Make sure that they haven't taken out any loans or credit cards in your name. Lock it down. Opie says, I will definitely contact my bank in the morning. Everyone seems to be warning me about that. And I'm going to warn you that we've got full episodes of more stories just like this one on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, or whatever your favorite podcast app is. Just search Showcase Storytime. And there is a little bit more to the story, but yeah, I agree with these comments. I mean, I agree. I feel like this friend, because they're both very young. They're both 18. I'm assuming the friend is the same age. If you haven't experienced manipulation, you don't know how to look out for it.
Yeah, she's thinking, oh, well, these are your parents.
Exactly.
Oh, they need help.
She's hearing the same guilt tripping stuff and she is like falling for it.
Yeah.
Because hasn't been in that situation before.
Absolutely.
So, you know, I wouldn't put any hate towards the friend.
No, she's 18.
Exactly. Like she don't know. But
she don't know.
She don't know. But I feel like yeah, you can ignore your friend though. She's just wrong.
She's
and that's okay.
just wrong.
She's just wrong. Talk to us instead.
Yeah. Come on. Wait. Come here.
Come here.
Come here. Talk to us.
Yeah. But we do have a third update to finish this off. So, to start off, yes, I froze my card. Oh well, I froze it the morning after I made this post and spoke to my bank account about any bills being opened in my name. My friend helped me open a new bank account in a different bank as well. Many people also asked why I told people that I had savings, and to that I say, I'm stupid. What happened was I had told my grandmother about it because I was sort of excited about standing on my own feet, but that seemed to backfire. Since then, I have stood my ground and have not given them any money. I did block my aunt as well and am going to have minimal contact with my grandmother. I told them that I had a car emergency and had to use the money, so I have nothing left to give, but I think they don't believe me. But overall, I will not be lending them any money, especially not from my savings. And that is the end of that story.
My family mistreated me after I came out as queer. I don't want to be a part of them anymore.
Sounds like you need to hit the highway.
I, 33 female, am struggling with so many things that have happened and are happening between me and my family. This year has been a very rough but great year for my kids and me. By the way, this comes from user Malanka13. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, I met a woman out of left field and fell in love. My family, on the other hand, did not approve of me coming out. My mom pushed me away and stopped communicating with me as much. We've always had a strained relationship as a mother and daughter relationship where I could never do good enough. When I came out to my baba, my grandmother, who I had a very close relationship with, her reaction came out of left field and she completely cut me out of her life. She refused to respond to my texts, but I saw she opened and read them. The night I was there with my kids for dinner and I tried to have a conversation with my baba about my new partner, she told me she never wanted to hear about her, meet her, and she would never be family. When leaving that dinner, I went to my partner and I drank until blacked out, went for a walk, slipped and fell and broke my foot in 2 places. And kids, let that be a lesson.
Oh, wow.
Don't drink to excess.
Don't drink and walk, guys.
Don't drink to excess when you're upset.
Yeah.
It's just going to break your foot in 2 places. My family got more and more distant. I ended up moving in with my now fiance a couple of months after moving because 1, we had a really hard time not being together, and 2, my parents were pushing me out of their house before school started, and I wasn't able to find anywhere to go. I was living with my parents after I separated from my abusive ex-husband, going through workers' compensation due to workplace PTSD, and fighting for coverage for 2.5 years with no income, finally winning my battle just as I met my partner.
Oh,
Well, at
wow.
least you won. But yeah, it's a lot to deal with. You've got a full plate. My mom kept making comments about my partner, saying that she was only with me for the money I won and trying to find reasons other than her loving me for her to be with me, trying to put crap in my head, convincing me to break up with her. It took me a couple months after moving in with my partner to find somewhere to move my stuff from my parents' house for storage due to us moving into a townhouse and not having enough room for everything. I constantly updated my mom on the situation and told her ahead of time when I was going to stop by and get stuff, but that apparently wasn't good enough. I had full access to their house and property, yes, but I never showed up without a heads up after moving out. However, the moment I started moving everything out with a truck and trailer, things started going insane. They locked me out of the house. They didn't tell me they did this, and I had to find out when going to the house to get stuff after telling them I was going. Then, once I found that out, they told me I had to make appointments to come and get my stuff when one of them was home. I asked what I did for things to change, and they never answered me.
They got to lie saw it before you get there, and then lie saw it after you get there.
Yeah.
So, makes sense.
Your parents don't support you being gay. That's all this is.
Yeah.
Your parents are bigoted.
That's so sad, man. That's tough.
It's one I feel is pretty much virtually impossible to come back from as well. But I digress. It took me 3 months from August to October to get most of my stuff out and ended up leaving some big furniture because they chose to take my mattress without asking and refused to give it back. Out of all the stuff they would hold hostage, they take your mattress? The grossest thing you own?
Maybe because they don't want to support her and give her the thing that she will do the bad things on.
She's like, I don't want you committing sins on this mattress.
I am not going to give you the support to commit those sins.
Then they told me and my friends who came to help to get out. I made the decision to just walk away from what was remaining. This was the last day they were allowing me to get my stuff, and they insisted I bring my kids, yet hovered while we did things. My partner was not allowed on the property because she called the cops one time while moving stuff as my mom blew up. My mom locked my helpers outside and me inside the house to yell at me, and my partner was concerned for my safety. My mom initially threatened to call the cops before they were called over the fact that we wanted to prop the door open to make moving easier, and I offered $50 for hydro as that was an issue for her. I had to put my dog of 14 years down, which broke my kids and me, as he was a huge part of our family. My baba didn't respond to my text. My mom was happy she got to hold him the day before, and then she was more concerned about me signing my snowmobile back into my dad's name. Fast forward to December when I got a message from a cousin I don't talk to through her mom's Facebook Messenger regarding my Gigi, my grandfather. She told me that my Gigi was put into palliative care due to pancreatic cancer that had spread to his liver and that he had been declining very fast. She told me she wasn't sure if I was aware, but it wouldn't have been fair if I didn't know. She said she was in town and had helped him listen to a voicemail of mine, but wasn't sure if he had called me back due to his lack of ability, and that his phone had now been disconnected. I completely broke down and ran to him immediately. At that point, I had left him 2 voicemails and no response. I went and visited him every day or every other day, half the time with my kids and the other half without. He loved every single visit. He lit up and told us how much he loved us. I cried so much over the 2-week span, but also saw his decline really fast. One night, I went to see him and they were changing his diet to minced food and had put a needle in his arm as he was having difficulty chewing food and swallowing his crushed meds in applesauce. I was there for over 2 hours just helping him get comfortable and calming him as he woke from sleep every 5 minutes, reaching to the sky and mumbling. I had a very hard time leaving him. He would calm when I spoke to him and would grab and hold my hand.
Dang. Wow. That's hit a little close. Oh, man.
Yeah, it's hard.
Dang.
It's hard being
Hard
around.
Hearing that.
It's hard. That's hard.
Yeah.
It's just difficult. Just letting that simmer for a second. I made a post about my Gigi, how sad we were about his condition, but also how we were enjoying as much time as we could while we still could. The aunt whose daughter had reached out through her messenger then contacted me, or rather attacked me, over the fact that I was going against my Gigi's wishes and that I was risking my Baba denying me any access to Gigi due to making that post. I lost it because I didn't know any of his wishes or really any information. No one had told me anything. How was I supposed to know this? She told me to contact my parents, to which I responded, "You even made a comment about your daughter not caring if my mom ever spoke to her again when she told me about my Gigi. So what do you mean talk to my parents when I have no contact with them?" I'm still confused as to what it was that the Gigi did not want.
Probably what Baba didn't want.
Which I think is what, just having OP's girlfriend around.
Yeah. Can't be having on that.
Well, guess what? Turns out Gigi still loves OP. Doesn't matter.
Oh, really?
That's what it sounded like. She was there taking care of him. The following day, I received a message from my cousin, whom I had started messaging through her profile to keep her updated on Gigi after she initially told me about him. She told me that he had passed 2 hours ago and wasn't sure if anyone had told me. But after consoling her mother, she reached out to me. The moment I read the message, I yelled to my partner and then collapsed to my knees crying. I wasn't going to get the chance to go see him before he was taken to the morgue. I wasn't going to have time to pick my kids up and then take them to say their goodbyes, and none of my family had the decency to tell me. My Gigi's niece, whom I have been in constant contact with, admitted to knowing about him but waited to hear from my dad if it was okay to tell me, despite knowing everything that was going on. She kept things from me even when I asked her to keep me up to date on my grandparents. I have a brother who wasn't really a part of my kids and my life due to his choices. We had a big falling out over lots of things, and instead of taking accountability for his actions, he chose to double down and blame me for everything. He also chose not to allow me to meet my niece and told me I'd see her at family gatherings a couple times a year. I'd asked to make arrangements to see her once a month, which he denied. I blew up on him because he hadn't told me anything and chose to block me on Facebook instead. My partner has been absolutely amazing through everything.
Let's go.
She keeps blaming herself for breaking up my family, but it's not her fault. It's the fact that after people-pleasing my whole life, I finally found the real me instead of being what everyone else wanted me to be.
So it was your fault.
Well, yeah. No. But like, if you take that like at face value, it's like, yeah, it's theoretically, it's OP's fault because OP is now living their truth.
Mm-hmm.
But what you gain out of living in truth, so much better than what you're losing. Because what you're finding out that you're just losing a bunch of people who wouldn't have accepted you anyway.
Wow.
So really, you're kind of like not even losing anything. You're just making space for more positivity to enter your life.
Great way to put it.
Dang.
But on a very real level, it's the bigoted family's fault.
Yeah, there it is.
For cutting you out. That's whose fault it really is. You're on the right track. My family is fully refusing to accept me for who I really am. My kids absolutely love her more than they do their own dad. And by the way, if you love us, you can listen to more stories like this in the full episodes that we have waiting for you on Spotify and iHeartRadio and Apple Podcasts and wherever you listen to podcasts. What do they have to search, Riley?
Okay, story time.
Okay, we do have a little bit more story left. Let's finish it off. When my partner picked up my kids from my ex on Christmas Day, the kids made a comment that my brother had reached out to their dad to wish them a Merry Christmas and my daughter a Happy Birthday. This hurt because my brother didn't like my ex and had stayed away from my kids because of a comment my ex made to his now wife before we got married. They were holding that comment against my kids and even me after we separated, which they admitted to me. I am huge on family and being close to them, but with everything that has happened, I don't think I can continue trying to be a part of such a toxic family. I don't think I can keep trying to connect with them, please them, or continue subjecting my kids to such a toxic environment. Am I the a-hole for not wanting to have anything to do with my family after everything that has happened? Honestly, that's going to be a big fat no from me. When there's like bigotry involved and like, of course you don't want your kids around that. Imagine the stuff they could say about you and your partner to your kids like while you're not around, you know, like, I don't know, man. Like,
Especially if like the kids grow up to be part of the LGBT community, you know what I mean? They're not going to be accepted either.
right. It's like, I just don't want, if I had hypothetical kids, I wouldn't want them being influenced by people who have like bigoted beliefs about someone who's literally their daughter who was in an
Yeah.
abusive relationship with a guy.
Mm-hmm.
broke up with him and then realized maybe I like girls. And now it's like, no, you're tainted meat. You know, I don't know. I think you are better off without trying to please these people who you fundamentally won't be able to please because they have a core belief that you are just incorrect. Yeah. So that is the end of that story.
My mother is convinced we are against her, but it's not true.
You tell her.
Trigger warning, mentions of self-harm. Background, my parents got divorced when I was 10, and while they got along at first, my dad got remarried, and they couldn't agree on anything after that. They fought for custody of my brother, 17 male, and I, and since I was the oldest, I was constantly put in the middle. I went a long time thinking my dad was a terrible person for all the things my mom told me he did, and I hated him for a while. By the way, this comes from Golden Mountains, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, my senior year of high school, I found out my mom was pretending to be me on my Facebook account.
It's just crazy. How?
Talking to a woman who had taken my senior pictures for my dad and telling her I didn't like them, didn't have fun taking them, and didn't want to be tagged in them because she only wanted Facebook to see the pictures she had taken, not my dad's. This woman was pretty hurt and had no idea it wasn't actually me saying these things. I immediately texted her and told her that was an effed up thing to do and changed my password since she violated my privacy and pretended to be me. She reacted by taking all of my money out of my bank account for a made-up debt I now suddenly owed her. I went home, packed all of my stuff, and moved to my dad's, and hopefully separated your bank account. Yeah, that's true. This made me spiral into a depression because I had realized I'd spent most of my life thinking my dad was awful and my mom never did anything wrong and didn't deserve any of it. But after that, I realized she was pretty messed up too, and I didn't know who to believe anymore. I couldn't wait to turn 18 and move away so I wouldn't be part of the drama anymore and could love them both from a distance. Fast forward to now, I now live 1,000 miles away from my parents. I decided to forgive all past transgressions on both sides so I could have good relationships with them both, separate from each other. And my mom never understood this, despite me trying to explain it. My mom would continue to try and tell me things my dad did to hurt her and my brother, and I've told her several times that I have no interest in anything that goes on between them and not to talk to me about it. As far as I'm concerned, when I'm talking to my mom, my dad doesn't exist, and vice versa. It's important to note that not once has my dad ever told me anything my mom had done, and doesn't mention her ever. Current situation, my dad is finally able to come and visit me next week for the first time since moving here 2.5 years ago. During the time he'll be here, my brother will be turning 18. The plan was for my dad, brother, and stepmom to all come visit for a couple of days. I didn't mention it to my mom because I figured she already knew and there was no reason for me to mention it to her anyway. Yesterday, I got a text from my mom that read, "So not one soul told me about this trip to state for brother's birthday. Not only did I have no idea I wouldn't get to spend my son's 18th birthday with him at all, but we made plans to go see Jeff Dunham in another city that night so he could spend the day with his dad. I'd prefer it if you stayed at dad's when you came to visit in May for my brother's graduation. I'm not doing this anymore."
What? How did they both have plans?
I have no idea. So my initial reaction is WTF? After talking to my brother, it seems he forgot to tell my dad he had made plans with my mom. So my dad, thinking there were no other plans in the way, decided to come and visit me and take my brother so he could see me too. He bought everyone plane tickets. This is what I sent back to my mom. "I don't know why you're mad at me. I didn't know you had plans with him, and I didn't know that you didn't know he was coming here. It's not my responsibility or place to tell you things like that. It's not my fault brother forgot to tell dad about your plans, and it's not my fault that you and dad can't communicate with each other efficiently so that this entire situation could have been avoided. Now brother's upset that he's letting everyone down, and I'm upset that somehow I'm still being thrown into the middle of crap that doesn't have anything to do with me, even when I'm 1,000 miles away. We will stay with one of our friends in May." After my mom flipped out, my brother told my dad he wasn't going to see me anymore since he felt bad that he made plans with mom first and forgot about them. My dad called me to tell me my brother wasn't coming, and he honestly had no idea why he wasn't coming. My brother listened to my mom on the phone with one of her friends, and from the way she was talking, she truly believes that I knew that she didn't know about the trip, and she's convinced herself that my dad planned this all out just to F with her and make her not see my brother for his very important birthday. She told my brother directly that I attacked her in that text message. After all this, my brother decided to come on the trip. He said I felt bad for her because I effed up, but if she's gonna slander you and dad, that she doesn't deserve it. Yeah,
Great.
if you're gonna
Great.
freaking complain all this time about how awful OP is, the brother's gonna be like, I don't want to go visit you. And now we come to the true problem. This is the next and last thing she said to me so far, and I have no idea how to respond or go forward from here. The fact that you're still blind to what he's doing and his motives is literally astounding to me. And yeah, it does have to do with you because you keep allowing him to use you to hurt me. Why would he make plans for an 18-year-old's birthday and not ask him what he wants to do and where he wants to go? Who does that and never say a word? No one thinks it's strange to go to my state just weeks before you're coming here. No one. Brother would rather go to New York or someplace he hasn't been. But instead of discussing it with his now adult son, he makes his own plans with his own agenda. I won't believe for 1 second it never crossed your mind it was weird. Brother should be upset. Upset he's being used as a pawn at 18 years old without his permission, just like you allow him to use you. I sent brother over there for all the holidays, mine or not. I went out of my way to ask brother what he wanted to do for his birthday and made sure dad also had time with him. I don't behave the way you all do. And this is it. I went over there to see you in September. Dang, this is long. And I never felt more unwanted and unwelcome anywhere in my entire life. But I'm sure Dad won't feel that way when he's there. You'd never treat him like this. You honestly think had brother been given the options he would have wanted this? Absolutely not. The game is still being played and I'm the one being hurt. And yes, you are still allowing it, so stop lying to yourself you don't care. No reason to worry anymore. We haven't been close in the last year anyway. I'm fine. Enjoy.
To that voice.
Yeah, it was much longer than I expected.
Yeah.
Wow, your mom is a lot.
Why doesn't anyone in your family talk to each other? Ever.
Yeah, wow.
It was a lot of like miscommunication on
Yeah.
the brother's
Yes.
part because he shouldn't be making plans with both of them
No,
and not
of course
telling
not.
the other person. But
But
also,
why is that your fault?
and it's not an attack on the mother in
No.
any way.
Like the brother forgot and she's like, oh, blah, 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 blah.
The brother forgot, and she's like, "Sister, you hate."
You hate me. Like, come on. That's a lot. Maybe you limit contact with your mom.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
OP says, I think my mom is crazy. Yeah. Literally all of this is in her head and none of it is happening. My dad made a plan to come see me, made sure it was okay with me and my boyfriend, and asked my brother if he wanted to come. My brother said yes, forgetting all about his plans with my mom. And so my dad bought plane tickets. When my mom came in September, she didn't ask, but instead told me she had bought tickets. When she was here, she somehow got it in her head that I was mad at her, and despite me trying to assure her that I wasn't mad, she acted like a child, refused to believe me, and stayed in our guest room the entire rest of the time she was here, which was like 2 days, until OP was mad at her.
Yeah, for doing all that for no reason.
I made efforts to try and invite her to go putt-putt, or bowling, or anything at all, and she would decline and stay in the room. Then went home and cried that I had treated her like crap and didn't want her there. She sounds like a piece of work.
Just wants to have a problem with
She just wants,
everything.
yes, she just wants attention. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to respond. My mom is always making herself the victim, no matter what it is. I was depressed and hurting myself. No, I was faking it just to hurt her. I was quiet at lunch because I was tired and had a lot on my mind. No, I hate her and don't want her to be here. I'm pretty hurt that she thinks I would intentionally conspire with my dad to hurt her, especially since I've been telling her over and over I don't want anything to do with what goes on between them because I mentally could not handle it anymore. What should I do, Reddit? The only response I can think of is you're crazy, get some help. But somehow I don't think that'll go over too well. There is an edit and an update, but do you have any thoughts?
I mean, I'm with you. I feel like at least low contact
Yeah.
with the mother at this because she's clearly just gonna have a problem with everything.
Yeah, I mean, you've told her that was not your intention. Told her that you weren't mad at her. You've tried to calm all of her anxieties about literally everything. Has not worked. She continues to blame you for everything. I feel like just for your peace of mind.
Yeah.
Distance.
And it sounds like her dad does much better with that. So
Yeah.
she still has someone to go to. So it's
Absolutely.
not the end.
Yeah. Edit. I woke up to a long text about how she feels. She says my father and I stole her son's 18th birthday from her. after she spent years fighting to not miss one. They fought over full custody the whole time. She said she was fighting for equal custody, and he wanted full with no visitation. I believed this growing up. Then legally have been forced to miss more than any parent should ever have to. Then she talks about how when my brother was born, she was under nightmare conditions because she had just found out my dad had an affair, unsure if it was emotional or physical. And even though she was mad at him, she still allowed him to be in the room when his son was born because she chose not to deny him the birth of his son, even though he didn't deserve to be in there and had every right not to allow him. And says how she never denied him the right to his children. Then that child grew up, reached his big 18 milestone, and it was stolen from her. Not only by him, but by the daughter who spent years of her life watching her mother go through enormous pain and sacrifice. It's a betrayal I never saw coming.
What about the brother? This is the brother's now adult decision.
Yeah, entirely the brother's decision, entirely his fault for forgetting.
And she's only
Blaming it all on
everyone
her.
else.
Well, I feel like the son is the golden child.
100%.
He's like, he's been parentified this whole time.
Yeah.
And now she's like, I hate you, daughter. She goes on to say more about how I should have known that she didn't know and won't believe I didn't. How she would never do this to my dad and that my dad isn't even planning this trip for my brother. He's planning it to hurt her and doesn't care about my brother's birthday. She says my dad and stepmom go on vacations all the time. So why didn't they bring my brother on those instead of this one when I was already going to see them next month anyway? She says I could have told him it wasn't a good time to go. It was a great time for my dad and my boyfriend and I. Plus, I was happy to be able to spend a birthday with my brother, who I haven't spent a single so important birthday with in years. I could have done what you did to me when I tried to go up there. I told her no, it wasn't a good time, but instead I chose sides and hurt her. Choices have consequences, and now the consequence is our relationship. Dad's goal has finally been obtained, taking her kids away. I decided to respond. Told her I would only say one more time that I wasn't part of some plan that doesn't exist, and that I was sorry that she felt as though we stole something from her, but the reality is that that isn't the case. I told her she wasn't entitled to our birthdays or anything in our lives since we are both now adults. And the day is about him anyway. I told her about how she acted when she was here and that her constant victim blaming is exhausting and I'm concerned for her. I told her I loved her and that I wanted the best for her. And when she was ready to let go of the past and move on and can stop making everything about hurting her, then she could call me. She's the only thing standing in the way of her own happiness. She sent 2 more long messages. We don't really talk on the phone much. I wonder why. Neither of us ever call the other. The first one saying how it's amazing how we're the only ones who think this. But all her friends see the truth. She even had to go sit with her pastor because she was so heartbroken. And even he told her it wasn't right.
Oh my God. Everybody.
Either one, that's a lie, or 2, she's lying about it so that they agree with her.
No, it's her pastor.
Yeah.
He's on her side.
Yeah. It seems my brother told her that he thought she knew about the trip, didn't realize the timing of the days, and forgot that I would be here for his graduation. She says this is my dad's manipulation. She's not going to explain anything to me anymore because it's clear that I view her so negatively and view my father so highly. To be fair, guys, my dad put myself and all of my things outside for my mom to pick up because they thought I was my mom's spy. Your parents suck.
What? I was like kind of just like, oh, it's just the mom for a second, but
apparently
like
both
what?
of them. And I bought into what my mom was saying and didn't like my father. We didn't talk for a year-ish after that. She says I don't love her. I know what love looks like because she's demonstrated unconditional love to me my entire life. And this isn't it. I'm lying to myself and I'll regret this forever. The next one calls me heartless for talking about my problems and not having empathy for her own. She says how she went through so much with her mom, fighting with my dad during and after both pregnancies, having that same man spend years trying to take her kids from her, and then her daughter grows up to be just like him. She's been in more counseling hours than I could imagine, dedicated her life to Christ because it's the only way she wouldn't have ended her life years ago. And that I know nothing about true depression. I know nothing about her except what I chose to believe. She asks how I could call her a victim. That sounds like my stepmom. She has many friends who've seen things with their own eyes and wouldn't call her a victim. I've placed misplaced blame on her for my own pain growing up because her only other option was to give us up, and that was never an option for her. I abuse her because it somehow makes me feel better about myself. She doesn't allow pain to turn her into someone who hurts those who hurt her, including how I treated her while she was here. I'm blind to who I am. I never send so much as a card for holidays. I got her a birthday present and a Mother's Day card and a Christmas present last year, as well as a call for Thanksgiving. Well, where was her Earth Day card? Where was her Memorial Day card?
Flag Day.
I don't participate in any other holiday, but she sends me all kinds of things for all holidays. Never lets a single one go uncelebrated. But this is how I feel, since she has no right to be in my life, and this is how I treat her after she moved me to a snowy state in the dead of winter. I originally wasn't planning on taking her up for my move and could have easily done it without her company, but decided to invite her because I knew she was sad I was leaving. But that's fine. No more relationship for us. By the way, you can always have a relationship with us if you listen to full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search Poke Storytime. But there is a little bit left to this story. Do you have any final thoughts?
Obviously, mom needs some therapy. I think,
Yeah.
honestly, mom and dad, even though they're not a couple,
Yeah.
need some couples therapy.
Oh, big time. I doubt they'll get it. But
No
they
way.
big time need couples therapy to learn how to co-parent because they have no idea. And they're both very culpable, in making OP's life very difficult.
And seemingly not the brother.
Yeah.
I wouldn't doubt, though, that the brother maybe even did communicate with the mom about the birthday.
Yeah, and she's
wants
just,
Yeah.
making a whole thing about it because she wants him to come to her.
so
yeah.
badly to be like, he didn't tell me.
Didn't tell me. Yeah. There is a little bit left, but OP, I think limited contact would be good with your mom if she's going to keep behaving like this and you've already tried to communicate with her.
Yeah, I agree.
She loves me as her daughter, but doesn't like who I am and won't allow that in her life. This is how a non-victim behaves. She prays for me and says, I pray that you always know how much you are loved, even when everyone around you is telling you all the reasons why you aren't lovable. Backhanded compliment.
Oh my God.
Until the healing of God brings us together again, she releases me. I'm not going to respond, I guess. I'm sad to know she isn't going to be a part of my life anymore, but at the same time, I can't deal with this crap. I hope one day she figures out that she's the problem. I highly doubt that, unfortunately.
Yeah. I don't think she's always gonna think it's you, and I think unless you come back with some super dramatic, over-the-top apology, which you shouldn't, that she's not gonna change her mind. And even then, she'd slip right back in.
Yeah, agreed. But folks, that's the end of that story. I want to put my mother on assisted living, but my brother is against it.
Your brother is against you?
And this comes from the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I, 44 male, am the youngest of my siblings. I have two brothers, Bob, 47 male, and Todd, 50 male. My mother, 70 female, is the main focus of this post. I'm married with one adult son, 23 male, who doesn't live with us. My wife and I have been together since 2019 and married in 2023. She has two kids, currently 14 male and 18 female, who both live with us, along with two dogs. By the way, this comes from Substantial Web 7964, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I'm Sophia.
I'm Keon.
I'm Riley.
And OP says, Bob has lived a carefree life his entire existence. No kids, no home, no real job, no responsibilities. He goes from tourist town to tourist town, getting odd jobs, trying to become rich with little effort. He has at least one get-rich-quick scheme monthly. He usually lives a day or two drive away from the rest of the family, moving around in a vehicle or camper. I've never been close with him growing up, and the distance between us keeps growing. Todd has a strong, secure foothold in life. He's had a successful, high-paying job for decades, owns his home, and is financially stable. He lives about 2 hours away, but generally stays near family. Todd is a half-brother with an entire other side of his family he's closer to. We get along well, but aren't very close either. I go to him for big life decisions, but we only talk a few times a year. Mom just turned 70 and has numerous medical problems. Her photo belongs in the dictionary under stubborn. My father passed away 25 years ago, and she currently lives with my adult son, Joe. Mom lives a very limited life due to poor health, and her financial state is even worse. I was an unruly kid into my early 20s. I did what I wanted when I wanted with little regard for consequences. I was carefree and just enjoyed life. Couldn't hold down a job and just wanted fun. As the baby child, my mother spoiled me, hid my transgressions from my father, and I got away with everything. Our family is large with extended family everywhere. Every Christmas, our entire family gathered at our grandparents' house for genuinely good times. Mostly no fighting, just family members looking out for each other and catching up. Mostly no fighting is also always good. You're reasonable. You couldn't ask for no fighting. I had a child when I was 19 and wasn't ready. My parents stepped up and helped tremendously for the first 2 years, as our family dynamic has always been to help whenever needed. My son's mother had substance problems and wasn't in the picture for his first 15 years. When my son was 2 years old, like a swift knife, my carefree life was torn in half as my father suddenly passed away in his prime. This was huge for our family since my father was our rock. No matter what you needed or when, he was everyone's first call. He gave up everything for everyone, was always there for friends and family. Bob traveled back for the funeral. The entire family and what seemed like half the state showed up. It was overwhelming how much one person could affect people's lives. Shortly after the funeral, Bob left the state again for his carefree mountain life. Can't hold Bob down. Bob's a free spirit.
He's going where the wind takes him.
I found myself stepping into my father's shoes, helping my mother and other family members more than I'd intended. She needed family more than ever. In those weeks and months, I told myself she'd bounce back and find a new normal, and I could return to my non-adulting life. In reality, this was the new me forever. In a few months, I went from typical troublemaker to responsible adult. I mentally grew up about 20 years during that period. My family must have seen this change because they started calling me for their needs. I was humbled and partly enjoyed being respected like that. For the next decade, I stayed close to my mother, going to her house and helping with most things she needed. At this time, she was physically okay. Todd came and went a few times yearly, and Bob basically disappeared. He called Mom occasionally and would text me, usually with get-rich-quick schemes or from jail, needing someone to bail him out across the country, which I did numerous times.
That's like the opposite of getting rich.
That's not
rich,
getting
by the way.
Yeah. That's bad. That's bad. Rough. Yeah, Bob is too free-spirited. In Bob's defense, he did help my mom financially several times when needed. He just wasn't around physically much. Several years ago, both grandparents passed away, so yearly Christmas gatherings passed with them. They were the glue holding our entire family dynamic together. Looking back over the last 10 years, I can pinpoint exactly how and when our family fell apart. I started a business that took off, and before I knew it, I was working roughly 70-plus hours weekly.
Dang.
My mental and physical health were strained, and I didn't have much extra to give others. I started making excuses when asked for help, not always helping like before. My now wife came into the picture around this time and helped pick up where I fell short. She helped my mother a lot, and her daughter became close with my mom. They'd both visit several times weekly, playing games and helping out. But then my mother started acting differently and having episodes. We discovered her diabetes was completely out of control. That is so dangerous. Yikes. And she had numerous near-death episodes over the next 2 years. We finally thought that we had controlled that when one night she tripped and broke her foot. This was the turning point from her normal life to what has transpired now. My mother has openly disregarded her doctor's orders for her foot and diabetes. In her words, "I've been doing this for 50 years and I'm not passed away yet."
She's at the age where she just,
Yeah.
I don't
is
give an F.
stubborn.
Yeah, like I'm just going to be as stubborn as possible. And
That's frustrating because
it
you
is
want
very, yeah.
you want your parents to take care of themselves so that you can have them around for a little longer. Her doctors and I strongly believe she would have been fine if she'd listened. But health-wise, her foot has been so bad and healing so slow that doctors have recommended amputation from the knee down numerous times.
Dang, it's that bad?
Wow. At this point, it takes her forever to move around and do simple things physically. Her diabetes is getting better, but still not properly managed. Her foot and leg are terrible, requiring weekly doctor visits. Some days she's fine and moves around slowly, but seems okay. Other days she struggles to use the bathroom in under 2 hours. Another aspect is her finances. The easiest way to describe them: think of a 13-year-old getting a few thousand monthly. Her money now goes to an account I made that she can't access. After deducting rent and cell phone, I send her the rest. Instead of spending responsibly, she drains her monthly money within days on knickknacks, snacks, and phone games.
Ain't no way she's playing like Bejeweled and spending
Yeah, she
hundreds
just
of dollars on that.
she's just getting in-game money.
Candy Crush? Oh boy.
Yikes. If I didn't hold back her rent, she'd be homeless. She's already lost a house and 2 rentals since my father passed. Basically, she cannot say no to her urges financially or diabetes-wise. Whatever she wants, she does. But she's mentally lucid, loving, caring, and an all-around great mother. She's just very needy. I see it like this. She lost her oldest son when he moved out, lost her middle child when he moved across the country, babied me hoping to keep me around, then lost her husband, lost both parents, lost her lifelong job to medical issues, lost her home of 20 years to financial problems, lost her baby when I got married, and recently lost her driving freedom due to medical issues. She lost a tremendous amount. Yeah, clearly she's, not handling any of this well, which is fair because it's a lot to go through for one
Yeah.
person.
But also, you shouldn't be the sole person to take the responsibility of
Yeah.
fixing that.
That's
Or-
so hard.
Pretty much being that one column of support. That's not fair.
No. A few years ago, I purchased 12 acres and bought a home for my wife and me. I shut my business down because traveling was taking a toll and went back to the 9-to-5 world. I moved my mother closer to my new home so I could help occasionally, and she purchased a camper to park here for weekend visits. The camper itself has become problematic due to her neediness and medical issues. Anytime she's here, I feel like I must oversee her to ensure she's not doing things she shouldn't. If I give her slack, she calls or texts constantly from her camper with things she needs. The fear of her getting hurt in any situation has become our new normal. My daughter doesn't even like visiting my mother anymore because of her nagging and the constant worry. Bob came back to the state for a while and moved in with my mother. There were many arguments over her finances and health. Bob actually stepped up and took on much of the burden. I hate to admit it, but I was finally relieved that all the weight wasn't on my shoulders anymore. Bob's views matched mine, and it was a daily battle trying to get her to make common sense decisions about her health and finances. After about 2 years of constant fighting with Mom, trying to get her to help herself, Bob finally decided to move on with his carefree life. My son ran into hard times and had a choice: stay on my couch until he got back on his feet, or stay with my mother where he'd have his own room. He chose Mom's, probably mainly because he'd have fewer rules there. This was perfect timing for Bob to move out and escape the situation. Over the last year, my son has been living with her, getting called at all hours to help with random things and attempting to manage her diabetes levels. It's interesting that he chose to live with, yeah, maybe you have less rules, but also you have way more caretaker role to fulfill.
Yeah, but when the phrasing of what OP said, you stay on my couch
Yeah.
or you get your own room,
Yeah.
which is like,
But you get your own room.
but you don't know how long you're gonna stay.
Yeah.
Especially just to get back on your feet.
Sure.
It could be a week, it could be a month, it could be a year.
Yeah.
A room takes the cake over I have to sleep on a couch the
Yeah.
entire time. I get it.
It's very stressful for him. Bob moved about 3 hours away to a camping area and comes back monthly for mail. Recently, I took her vehicle away because she was falling asleep at stop signs or going to stores and sleeping in her car for hours before shopping. It was becoming dangerous for her and everyone around her. This was a huge argument that continues today. She sees this as me parenting and grounding her when I have no right to. The arguments have calmed, but she's devastated about losing her driving freedom. My son and her relationship has dwindled to childish nagging. So much hidden resentment exists that they argue daily about random stupid things. She's pushed him to where he won't do easy tasks for her anymore out of spite. She purposely pokes at him to see what she can get away with and how much she can use him. So today, my brother Bob exploded on me, and honestly, I'm confused. He texted me a lengthy message calling me a horrible person, Summarized, his text said I should help mom more, go to her house numerous times weekly to vacuum, wash dishes, take out garbage, get her mail, feed her dog, etc. By taking her vehicle away, I should step up to help with traveling and store trips. I should call her at least once daily asking if she needs anything and go out of my way to get what she needs. I need to let her live however she wants and just accept it. If she passes, she passes, living the way she wants. Every single fight Bob and I have had with our mother over the past decade is now moot, and he's arguing with me against every position he previously took. I actually agree with most of what he said to a point, but not to the extent he's implying. I have a full-time job, a newish marriage, 2 live-in kids, 2 dogs, a house, and fairly large property to maintain. Becoming a daily butler to my mother isn't possible. Checking in once weekly and scheduling weekly town and grocery store trips is absolutely doable. But daily check-ins, house cleaning, handling daily needs seems excessive. It might be excessive for you to do it, but I think that maybe she needs it.
She, especially the way she treats you guys, and like she's at an age where it looks like she just enjoys nagging, and she needs the help, but she also just like, maybe she's tired of you guys too, in a way. But here's my question: I love how Bob was like, "So what are you gonna do, OP?"
Yeah, I mean,
I'm
he's
like, wait.
gone.
You're the carefree guy. You stayed for a little bit, but then you flew the coop again, so it's back on my shoulders.
Yeah.
So you know how much work and effort and how excessive it is to do this. Why, you're telling me to do this, but where are you in this situation?
Yeah, like you're not helping out. Our town is a small bus that picks people up and brings them anywhere in town if scheduled a day in advance. My mother refuses to plan her life. For example, she'll call saying she's been out of milk for 2 days and needs to go to the store right now, or the world will end. Right now will be 9:30 at night when the local store closes at 10, and I'm already in bed. Just finding out she's been without milk for days. She does the same with my son. Everything's always an emergency, always last minute and late at night or middle of the night. I strongly feel that if she would plan things out, we could work past many problems, but that argument never resonates with her and nothing changes. Bob's opinion is, who cares? She's your mother. Go get her milk at the last minute. It's a duty you need to accept as her son. Honestly, a huge part of me agrees with him. But the logical side keeps thinking all she has to do is notice she's getting low on milk and text or call. Then I can grab it on my way from work before she runs out. Or make arrangements to get her to the store before she's out. Not last minute, middle of the night emergencies because she refuses to plan anything. There's also the aspect that Bob has no current job, lives in a campground a few hours away, doing some online blog to make money, no kids, no animals, no responsibilities. I'm not sure why I'm this giant knucklehead in his eyes when he has all the extra time in the world to help our mother.
Yep.
Because he just wants to blame you.
Yeah, I did my 2 nickels.
Yeah.
I served my time.
I did my time. By the way, you can do your time by listening to full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime. But there is a little bit left to this story. It seems like OP is, from what the title said about the assisted living, it seems like OP is realizing that this is a really large undertaking for one person.
Yeah.
When you have a parent or just any, elderly person who has so many needs, it's really hard to help that person when you don't have the training, the time, the patience,
the energy.
The energy is very important.
It's a second job pretty much at this point, and it's not fair to you. And I know you're trying to do your best, but at this point you've been doing your best, and your best is honestly not enough for your mom.
Yeah, which is not your fault. It's just your mom has a lot of needs right now.
Yeah.
I called a few close family members and my mother's best friends to lunch. We got together and I shared my thoughts. I asked for their opinions on placing my mother in an assisted living care facility. Not only did everyone agree with me, to my surprise, there was absolutely zero pushback.
Wow.
Okay, cool.
That's easy as pie.
Everyone at the table said it's my choice and they'll support me however they can, but agree she needs supervision. To be clear, Bob wasn't included in this conversation since I knew his stance, and Todd and I decided to include him to avoid any public scenes he might create. So am I wrong for not stepping up and supporting my mother more? And any suggestions on how to talk with my mother about proceeding this route? I'd rather not force this upon her. I'd rather find a way to talk her into it, so it's her choice. And that is the end of that story.
Yeah.
But
No, I again, it's one of those things where it's like, it is okay to ask for help.
yeah.
You can't just put everything on you and like, I got this. At a point, you have a breaking point. Your cup
Absolutely.
overfills and you cannot do it anymore. And you've been there. You've been doing all the support. It's okay to get help, and it's okay to ask for help. And the fact that everyone other than Bob, who's not even there,
Yeah, he's not
more
even
than
there, and he's
half the
demanding that
time.
you help out.
Yeah.
And take on all this extra burden.
100%. I think again, you have to bring it up to her and be like, hey, I cannot do the things you need me to do because I don't have the time or the energy. It's not fair to me. It's not fair to you. This is probably the best thing that we can do to solve that issue.
I snitched on my mother's married boyfriend and lost everything.
That's their fault.
My mother started having an affair with a married man, Bruce, over 10 years ago. My dad left her over it, but she stayed with Bruce with the promise of him divorcing his wife soon. Spoiler alert, it never happened.
Oof.
By the way, this comes from Throwaway My Life. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we'd do. So let us know what you would do in the comments. And OP says, after 10 plus years of knowing my mother was the other woman, and after stalking Bruce's wife's socials, I couldn't take it anymore. He's a creepy man that no one in my family can stand, including my 3 other siblings. We've been tasked all these years to keep her dirty secret and treat Bruce as if he's not an adulterer.
That is
Insane. I took one for the team and sent some anonymous emails out to some contacts I found through social media. Bruce's wife responded to me and asked to speak, as she had no idea any of this was going on, which I highly suspected, despite Bruce's lies all these years.
terrible.
So I sat down and phoned her. We talked for almost 3 hours. She's a nice woman who was nothing but kind to me. She's been married to Bruce for 30 years and had no idea he had a double life. His job allows him to travel frequently. I answered all her questions. During this conversation, though, I knew my relationship with my mother was over.
Which, that's not your fault. Your mother was asking you to keep such a terrible secret of her own wrongdoings for 10 years. That's not a good relationship anyway.
I knew the details would get back to her and would pinpoint to me. Bruce's wife thanked me over and over and shared she would be divorcing Bruce once she got her finances in order. It was a very emotional conversation, and I'll never forget the sound of her cries as I told her all the details.
That's just crazy.
10 years.
10 years of cheating on your partner. Like, you're a psychopath.
Yeah. The next day, I was completely cut off from my mother. I had no way of contacting her, and shortly after that, the intimidation from members of my family came flooding in. Messages of disgust towards me and support towards my mother. Everyone turned on me and will no longer speak to me. I can't imagine she's telling them the truth of what I did. I told on her married boyfriend. I'm shocked my family has chosen her side and abandoned me. Sometimes regret washes over me, but in the end, all I did was speed up the inevitable. And I did it for my siblings, who couldn't stand his presence anymore. I thought it would get rid of him, but it backfired. Not only are Bruce and my mother getting married, but my siblings chose her side and have cut me off. This weighs heavy on my chest. It did for the last 10 years, and now, because of what I did, it will continue. Thanks for reading and letting me get it out. And we have an edit, but...
I mean, OP, when you do something like that, there will be consequences. However, that does not mean that you shouldn't do it.
And I think that there was a positive consequence of
agree.
his
Yeah, his wife, like his
finding
wife
out.
probably really thanks you for
Really?
that.
Yeah.
So,
So even though you lost a toxic
yeah.
relationship with your mother, you saved that other woman from that.
And you're gonna be around a lot better. You're gonna find a lot better people who are not gonna want to keep secrets like this and force you to keep those secrets and side with adult, cheaters.
Yeah. Thank you to all the supportive comments. I have a few people in my corner rooting for me, but these comments have been comforting and therapeutic. The number of family that turned on me, I truly started to worry I was the problem and made a mistake. To answer some questions, money is a huge factor in all of this, which is why my mother and siblings are so angry and not thanking me. I am my mother's oldest daughter. Only my youngest sibling lives with her. We are all adults. I have 2 young children my mother has thrown to the curb for Bruce. They will never know who she is. I am in contact with the wife. She is a lovely woman who is aware of how this all unfolded and has been so kind to me. I like to think in another life we would be friends. I mean, be friends in this life, dude. I've spent a lot of time putting together proof for her so she can get what she deserves out of the divorce. Keeping in touch with the wife angered Bruce and my mother so much that they told my family I was pestering the wife.
Wow.
That fueled the fire more for my family to hate me.
I mean, if there's any way that you can be like, hey, here's proof. Here's my good relationship with the wife. She's pretty thankful, pretty grateful
chill.
that I sent this to her.
To the few that have commented, I should have minded my own business. I wish this never was my business. What a laugh.
She made it your business when
Yeah.
she told you that you had to keep the secret.
For 10 years. With some relevant comments. Commenter 1. Wait, why is she mad? If you didn't tell, the adulterer would still be married and wouldn't be marrying your mom. Shouldn't she be thanking you? Unless he never intended to marry your mom and even she knows this. LOL. Commenter 2. I'm willing to bet the mom is pissed because Bruce stands to lose a lot of assets and will possibly have to pay alimony. Hard to say for sure since we don't know the details of Bruce's marriage, but money is the only thing I can imagine being the reason he didn't leave his wife earlier and why mom would be so mad. I'm no legal expert, but this is my best guess. And OP said, bingo.
Yeah.
Commenter 3, why isn't your mother happy about what you did? She finally got the man that will cheat on his wife. It's crazy that this woman's like, I can't wait to marry the man that when he was married cheated with me.
Yeah. And then
They
she's
always
like,
do the same.
how could you tell his wife?
Yeah.
And now he's marrying me. I'm so upset at you.
I wonder how shocked she'll be when
Cheats on
with
her?
someone else.
Probably
while
is
they're
cheating with
married.
the third person. Yeah.
OP says she feels I betrayed her, I'm sure, and I've ended her lavish lifestyle with his money. Commenter 4, why not reach out to a relative to see what story your mom is telling them? I think you're right to suspect she is telling a very slanted version of events. OP says I tried with many of them. They won't tell me. And where's OP's dad in all of this? OP says not a good relationship with him and he's annoyed I did this. Thinks I caused drama. Some additional information from OP after reading comments. OP says my family still won't talk to me. It's been almost 6 months of no contact from my mom. I have tried many times to reach out. As far as I know, Bruce and my mother are still wanting to get married. They're waiting on their divorces. I talk to Bruce's wife monthly, who is still devastated by all of this, and she continues to be nothing but kind to me. She's expressed her desire to meet in person to thank me. She hired a forensic lawyer and found 22 hidden credit cards.
Oh, dang.
Oh my God.
He keeps getting worse.
I don't know about you.
But I'm feeling 22 counts of credit card fraud.
Yikes.
I helped her build a timeline with all evidence I had, so she'll be getting what she deserves from the divorce.
Heck yeah.
It's been hard without my family, but I have to hold on to the fact that I helped this stranger and stayed true to my own morals. I know I did the right thing.
You did. You have solid proof that you did because this woman is coming to you and saying,
Yeah.
like, thank you.
Over and over.
Yeah, and finding out more and more information. So you absolutely did the right thing.
And I love that you're helping her with her.
Yeah, it's like,
divorce.
okay, mom,
Like,
you're going to
okay,
leave me
fine.
behind? Bye. I'm going to ruin your new husband financially.
Have fun.
Deal with it, mom.
Update 14.5 months later.
Okay.
It has been 18 months since I blew my family life up by tattling on my mother for being the other woman for 12 plus years. Oh, so it was even longer than 10. 18 months of a smear campaign against me that has turned all of my family, except one sister, and close family friends against me. Even my grandparents, who basically raised me. Bruce's wife and I still keep in touch every few months. She has gone through way worse than I have. Her life was a lie, and she struggles daily to comprehend everything that has happened. I feel so much shame that my mother is half responsible for this woman's heartbreak. She still has been nothing but kind to me. The big question that remained unanswered for 18 months, why did my family alienate me? What lie did my mother and Bruce tell that made them not even give me a chance to speak? The truth is that I told on my mom's married boyfriend and blew up their vacation mode relationship, but we all know that couldn't be what she was telling people. Every night I would lay awake wondering what it was that was said about me. And I finally got the answer a year and a half later. My mother told everyone that I was a substance regular user.
I mean, it's just like so crazy when people who do bad things like this
Yeah.
have to make up these outrageous lies because they know that no one would defend
Right.
their actions.
It's still crazy to me that despite your whole family getting that lie, none of them let
None
you
of them
speak
checked
on
on
it
you. None of them
or
are like,
checked.
wow,
Yeah.
we should go help you.
That I was effective cognitively from substance use. None of you know me, but I am not a substance regular user. My family believed that lie without question because who would lie on their own child like that? She had to say a lie so far from the truth that no one would question her. So there it is. The damage is done from all ends. Also, don't you have a sister that's still talking to you, though? How is she not going back?
I don't know.
She said that she had one sister on her side still.
Yeah, I don't know how that sister's not like, guys.
My oldest sister's
She's fine.
chilling. My family thinks I'm a substance regular user, and I'll never forgive my family for believing that and turning on me. I pled with so many of them. I sent them the entire story from start to finish, and no one broke and came to my side. I will never forgive my mother. So much has happened these past 18 months, and it's all her fault. She almost broke me, but thankfully I have an amazing family of my own I created. A husband and 2 daughters and
That's great.
amazing in-laws. My sister and I have never been closer. We are healing together. The only thing I wish now is for my mother to stop smearing me. My husband deployed for 6 months, and she actively lied on me to people that would come and help me during that time to try to isolate me further. There is no limit to her mental torment. My mother will always be my biggest bully. Going no contact with a narc parent is so hard. Don't let any old hag out there tell you it's their first time living too. It's your parent at the end of the day. I am her child, and she chose an ugly balding man over me and 2 amazing granddaughters. Will always be her loss. Thanks again for letting me get it off my chest. And by the way, I gotta get this off my chest to let you know that you can listen to full episodes with stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, search up OK Storytime. There's a little bit more, some comments, but
I'm sorry. There's just, I think even if my mom goes around and tells the whole family like, hey, yeah, don't listen to whatever Sophia says. She's got a substance
Right.
problem. My family would absolutely, I would hope,
immediately
would
come
immediately
check.
go to me and be like, are you okay?
Right.
What help can we get
What can
you?
we
I know you have
do?
kids. Do we need to get them some help?
Right.
But none of that. I wouldn't forgive them either. I'd be like,
Yeah.
wow, you not only believed my mother, you also didn't even check up on me.
Right. How it like only one sister coming
Yeah.
out to be like, and what really happened is
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
Relevant comments. Commenter 1. Wow, the way you were treated is absolutely horrible. I do not blame you for having resentment against your family members who abandon you like that. Do you still have a relationship with your father and his side of your family? OP says, my father was upset at me at first because it caused a lot of headache for him. He and my mother were only separated, not divorced. He didn't want to give up his pension. And he was also told the BS version. So it honestly took about a year to get him to truly understand the truth. We've never had a great relationship, but we are growing closer now. Commenter 2 says, have a lawyer send her a cease and desist letter. Great idea.
Yeah. Say like, hey, slander,
Yeah.
libel.
Stating
all
if
that
she
jazz.
does not stop lying, there will be a lawsuit. Opie says, I'm a stay-at-home mom. Bruce has got a lot more money than me, and there's an added layer of complication with me living in Canada and Bruce and now my mother living in the US. I think about it all the time, though. And OP on, are the divorces finalized for the mother and Bruce, and have they gotten married? OP says divorces for both of them have only just finalized, so no, not yet. But only a matter of time, especially with her trying to reside in the US with him when we are from Canada. And OP responding to a downvoted commenter about if Bruce's ex-wife deserved to know what happened.
Yeah.
OP says, you don't think Bruce's wife had a right to know? When this all started, my youngest sibling was 6. We have been dealing with this for 12 plus years, and I couldn't take it anymore. Yes, I thought they would break up. No, I don't regret telling.
Yeah,
That's
no,
the end.
you should
No,
not.
100%
You
should tell.
literally helped her and she thanked you. So clearly you did the right thing.
Yeah.
But that is the end of that story. And we've got another one coming right up.
My boyfriend lets his mom control his finances and thinks I'm the controversial one.
Dude, you got to start ponying up.
I, female 25, know exactly what you're thinking from the title. Typical mama's boy who prioritizes his mom above everything else and his poor girlfriend gets the scraps. But no, it's completely separate from that. By the way, this comes from user outrageous claim 32, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We're only mortals. We only know what we would do in any given situation. So if you do something different, let us know in the comments. My boyfriend, male 26, avoids his mother like 99% of the time, as much as we can when we're renting a house with her and the rest of his family. She doesn't own the home. We aren't living in her home, but we all live together in a big house in a high cost of living area that gives us some great advantages that other 20-somethings don't usually get. Lots of space, an arcade room, multiple living rooms, and a room of our own for each of us. The problem is that he's extremely tied to his mother in every way other than socially. He pays his phone bill through her, his car payment and insurance through her, and I find it extremely annoying. If we need to find his insurance information, we have to ask her. It's like she dangles the information around, deciding if we are worthy of getting the information we need, and even then, she wants to submit the info herself instead of giving it to us. She holds on to his birth certificate and has to ask for copies despite the fact we have our own files that I keep meticulous records in. This year for my birthday, he co-signed on my new car to get me a lower monthly payment, something I love, and he offered to do for me for my birthday. In order to finalize some documents, we had to attach my car insurance information and his history of car insurance. Instead of pulling up his car insurance, he had to text his mom and ask her for the information. I sat there with my documents in my hand, waiting for his mother to decide whether or not he could have the information he needed. And she ultimately decided not to give him his insurance information because it's my car and he shouldn't need to show anything. From my point of view, it shouldn't matter why he wants his own insurance information. He should be able to access it whenever he wants for whatever he wants. We've also been tinkering with the idea of upgrading both of our cell phones next year, possibly even merging our cell phone plans together. He had to ask his mommy how many more payments he had on his iPad, and it took her 4 weeks to give him the information he needed for us to plan further. When we're budgeting, I ask him something as simple as, how much is your car payment again? And he has to text his mom to ask how much he takes out of his bank account for his car payment every month. For me, I have all of that on my own. I have my own health insurance through work, my own car insurance, my own phone plans. I pay my own car loan every month. And it absolutely drives me insane that I can't get any information about finances without having to go through his mother. At 25 and 26, I think it's extremely normal to handle all of these things yourself. But am I wrong? I don't know if I'm annoyed because I'm extremely independent and have been since I was around 13, or if this is something that is actually just not normal and really annoying. There are no other signs of mama's boy. He never brings her around on our dates or ever really wants her around at all. He seems just as annoyed about this stuff as I do. But to me, if he were really annoyed, he'd put a stop to it, and he hasn't. Any advice would be appreciated. First advice would be like, have you talked to him about why he does this? Like,
Yeah,
why does he choose this?
I
He
think
probably
he
thinks
just
it's
doesn't
normal.
realize.
Yeah, he probably thinks it's. I'm on the same boat as Sophia. I think we're giving him too much of a hard time.
I think he's 26. That's not that
No,
old. I don't
when
think
you're
20.
wanting to co-sign on a insurance thing with
Yeah.
your partner and your mommy says, nuh-uh, you can't do that at 26.
But I think
And you're like,
he
not
got-
immediately like, oh, you're just like, oh, well, I guess I can't.
I think he got parentified into that. I think he just like his mom probably's like, that's okay. Like, I can do this. I like to see your funds. And I think he was like, I don't see anything wrong with that, I guess, because my mom said it was okay.
Comment 1 is, I don't understand how it doesn't drive him insane. Dude needs to figure out where all this paperwork is and go effing get it. OP says, from what I've seen, she does this to both him and his brother, as well as their late father. I think they all just think it's normal, and I don't know how to convince them that it's not. Comment 2, now that he's 26, he needs to remove his mother's access to his bank account. He can write her a check for his share of the rent and utility costs. Get his own car insurance. At 25, the higher rate just because he's a male under 25 goes away. So the reason to stay with parents' insurance goes away. If she won't give him access to his birth certificate, just order a new copy online. Same with the Social Security cards. Present it as, we are talking about joining our finances, but having your mother keep the ability to see and access bills and bank accounts is a deal breaker. He can be financially entangled with his mom or with you, but not both. Once you secure his cooperation, since this seems to be more out of habit and convenience, you will probably need to help him develop a budget so that bills don't get missed or paid late, because he hasn't had to do this yet. Do not commingle your money until after he has shown that he has learned to do this independently. Comment 3, he is correct. That's how she is, but he's also allowing her to control his money. With minimal effort, he can easily get his birth certificate without his mother's consent, open his own bank account and block her access, get his own phone, insurance, and make his own car payment. If he doesn't do that, then you are going to want to get yourself out of that situation, because he is a mama's boy, and he will not take control of his life or finances while she is alive. He can break away from her, he just isn't. Since you live with him and you have combined your income with his, you are also tied to her. This dynamic will never change, ever. You have to decide if you want this woman controlling your life, because right now she does, by your own admission. Thankfully, everything of yours you pay for yourself. And whatever you do, don't have kids with. Well, okay, we're going a little too far.
See that? I think that's too far.
This is too far right now.
He's 26.
It's
I don't think he's a lost
fixable.
cause.
It's addressable.
Yeah.
Here's an update 8 days later. Today, he told me he'll be getting a new phone, but that his mom handled it for him while he was at work. She called him during one of his busiest hours and asked him a bunch of rapid-fire questions, ones that he answered without paying much attention. His job is very physical, so he likely had an earpiece in and listened to her that way. It ended with him getting a new phone without having to trade his phone in. When I asked how that was possible, he said, apparently it was the only way to get my new phone without me having to open my own separate phone plan.
No, you are right there. You guys literally want to
That's what I'm
have your own
saying,
phone
dude.
plan together.
This guy's trying to hang out in Club Baby.
You have to have
He's
a
26.
very serious conversation with your boyfriend now.
I thought this was perfect. What a great way to bring up this tough conversation organically. I said, what's wrong with opening your own phone plan? And he just shrugged. So I brought the whole thing up. I can't say exactly what I said because it was word vomit on my part. But eventually, as I was saying all of this, he said, okay, I don't want to talk about this anymore.
No.
So I told him we can't just ignore this. And he said it wasn't a big deal. After a bit of silence, he said, I didn't know that talking to you would be so controversial. I tried to stay on track, looking at this as a whole. He said that either way, he'd been tied to his mom's account by having to pay off his iPhone through her. That no matter what, it would have been a while before he was detached, so what's one more thing? I asked, okay, but when does that end? Don't you think it's weird that you can't even tell me how much your bills are? That everything is through her? Everything a normal couple has tied together 4 years in, you have with your mom. I never thought that when you told me at 21 that everything was tied to your mom, that you'd still be the same way at 26. He asked what I wanted him to do, and that no matter what he did, he'd still be ultimately financially tied to his mom until his car is paid off, so it doesn't matter. And that's when I kind of snapped. I said, and don't you think it's weird she keeps calling you while you're at work and then you end up locked in long-term contracts with her? Is she doing this on purpose? And he said, I mean, probably, yeah. So I asked him why he doesn't see a problem with it. And he said he's just nonchalant about it. At this point, it feels like he is truly not seeing the problem. I feel incredibly frustrated and angry that he just lets her do this. It's like he likes it, which makes no sense to me. By the way, it makes perfect sense that you can listen to full episodes with stories just like this on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to podcasts. Just search OK Storytime, and you can listen to the full archive. I just don't get it. I just do not understand how a grown man, which I guess he's not
quite,
because he's still a baby. He wants to be
Still
baby boy.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if this is like breaking up territory, but like it's definitely like
Big old conversation.
reassessing how much you want to be like it might be like pulling back territory
Well, I think
or like moving out. I know you said that like living here affords you guys a lot of, stuff, but it's like being like, I don't want to be in this environment because it feels like I'm living with just a child.
I think it's having a big conversation and saying, if you don't see a change, I don't know how we can start a life together if you can't separate your life with your mother.
Truly. If you can't see that, I don't know, if you can't be responsible for your own stuff, how are we going to have a life together where you have to be responsible for your own things?
Don't know.
It's just
what's going to happen when your mom's gone?
Yeah, like how long do you want to do this? Forever?
How do you not mind not taking personal responsibility for things like this? The car I get, but I know that I had an active loan with my mom that I got transferred into my own account a few years ago, so I know he can get his phone separated from her at least. In hard times, she threatens to drop his name from the title to raise his insurance rates. But now he's 26, so if we asked her to drop her name, his insurance rates wouldn't go up, and she wouldn't have anything to threaten him over. Then she'd have nothing over him anymore, but he doesn't seem to care, and I'm starting to think that it's because he doesn't want to have to worry about paying anything on his own. It feels like a massive red flag. At 25 and 26, I'm not sure it's a red flag I'm willing to ignore.
Yeah.
And that's the end of that story.
I think, if the conversations don't work, then you got to reassess.
My mother showed up at the hospital right after I gave birth, unannounced and uninvited.
Oh boy.
Man.
The best way to show up anywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wait, no. The worst way to show up anywhere.
To fully appreciate the sheer audacity of my mother's actions, here is the very important context. I, 27 female, am the eldest of 3, and my son is the first grandchild for both my and my husband's 28 male. My mother, 57 female, lives in the city where we grew up, but I now live around 5 to 5.5 hours away in a small country town with my husband's family. By the way, this comes from Where Be the Dragons, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. So when we found out that we were pregnant and started talking about hospitals, we decided to go to one of our local regional maternity wards, which is around 2 and a bit hours away from where we live, 6.5 to 7 from the city. It's the hospital all the women in our town go to if they didn't go to the city. Going to the local hospital meant our travel time for appointments would be shorter than going into the city, and the added benefit of not getting a surprise visit from my mother, or so I thought. My mother is not a bad person, but she can be a lot. She has a psychology and counseling background, which means she is great at diagnosing other people, but she's not so good at self-reflection and accepting when she is wrong. Usually I can get her to listen to me, or I choose my words carefully so that I can make her think that my ideas are hers. But things have changed recently with the pregnancy. She has started making decisions without me on my behalf, stating that I shouldn't have to worry about these things with my poor health and a baby on the way. One particular instance involved the of a much-loved family member. I only found out that he was in the palliative care for my grandma by accident, and by the time I was able to find out what was going on, he had passed away.
That's kind of really you're reaching towards unforgivable territory there.
The whole situation made me so stressed that I ended up in the emergency room with high blood pressure due to the stress. It was at that moment that I decided to seek out professional help to reduce my stress and to not endanger the baby. Because of this incident, I have scaled back my contact with her, and my sister, 25 female, is considering going no contact after her wedding in November. My sister has copped the most rubbish from her out of us siblings, and my brother, 15 male, lives with her, but he is dealing with the divorce of his parents at the moment. I can see the same people-pleasing attitude coming out of him that I have. She's my mother, and I love her, but I could not think of anything worse than having her in the labor ward with me. I would be focusing on her and not what I need to. To keep her away from the hospital, I told her my birth plan was to have no visitors in the hospital because I wanted it to be just me and my husband. Leading up to the due date, she kept texting me to say that she was willing to jump on a plane at a moment's notice if needed. Multiple times I said thank you, but I really wanted it to be just me and my husband. There is a small regional airport in the town where the hospital is, but flights are expensive. Another thing I thought would be a good deterrent. Now to the story. Grab a cup of tea and some snacks because this is a long one. Unfortunately for everyone involved, the labor and delivery of my son was not an easy one. We had grand plans of a natural birth with minimal interruptions and interventions, except for trying all the fun substances. But when things started going south, we had to make some hard decisions. In the end, we made the best choices for us at the right time, so even though I ended up having a C-section, it was not an emergency, and I was still able to have a good birthing experience thanks to my amazing medical team.
Yay.
Yay. The most important thing to note in this story is that my son and I are healthy.
Indeed it is.
Great.
That's a great perspective.
Oh, yeah. While I was busy trying to give birth, my husband was keeping our parents updated about my progress. My mother and father-in-law were in town with us for the birth as extra backup if it was needed, at my therapist's suggestion. When we decided to call it and have a C-section, my husband sent a quick text to our parents notifying them that we were going into the theater.
I think that's like a British term.
Interesting.
Or I think this is in English. This is taking place in the UK, and I think theater is like once you're taken into surgery.
But anywho, my mother-in-law was a bit panicked when she saw this text, so she made sure that she was ready to leave at a moment's notice if we needed her. Take note here that she waited for more information before she did anything. My mother, on the other hand, took this text as everything is going wrong and we need you to jump on the next flight, but don't tell us because we are too busy. And she booked flights and accommodation for herself and my brother for a couple of days.
Why are you doing all that?
That's crazy.
Nobody told you to do this.
That's so much. The next day, we were recovering from a very long couple of days, and we decided that my husband should go to the hotel room where his parents were staying to get some proper rest. My husband carries his stress in his gut, so he was not having a good time after watching me go through labor, and he was a bit traumatized by the whole ordeal. So the plan was that he was going to take a couple of hours to sleep and have a proper meal with his parents before coming back to the hospital to stay with me for the night. While I was finishing up breastfeeding our son, not long after my husband left, a nurse came into my room with a brown paper bag. She said that my mom was downstairs. I looked at her confused, and I told her that my mom was in the city. She asked me for my name, and I gave it to her. She said that it was indeed my mom. I think she saw the look of utter shock on my face and asked me if I wanted her to send them away or if I just needed some time. By this point, I saw my mom's writing on the bag and realized that not only did she fly here without my knowledge or consent, but my brother was here since his name was also on the bag. I asked the nurse to buy me some time, and once she left, I immediately called my husband. Poor thing did not even get 10 minutes before he had to race back to the hospital to support me. Thankfully, my husband arrived at the hospital before my mother graced us with her presence. She waltzed in with a big smile and said, "Surprise!" looking incredibly pleased with herself. I have no idea what my face looked like, but it must have been an interesting picture to prompt her to say that I had a choice if I didn't want to see her today.
Oh yeah, do I?
Yeah.
Do I have that choice? Because it feels like you just ambushed me.
Yeah. Doesn't feel like it at all.
You really haven't given me any choice whatsoever.
I didn't really, because I knew that if I did turn her away, I would have never heard the end of it. I don't remember much else of the visit. I was so exhausted that I was barely functioning on autopilot. In the end, she got exactly what she wanted. She got to cuddle the baby and was one of the first people to do so. I could tell my husband wasn't particularly happy with this, rewarding her bad behavior, but I had no fight in me. Once she left, I was only able to keep it together for a couple of minutes before I started crying. The one thing I wanted out of my birthing experience was thrown out the window. I haven't stopped crying about it since, but most of the sadness has now turned into anger. I think I'm working through the stages of grief. I'm seeing my therapist in a couple days, and she is going to have an absolute field day with this. By the way, what you guys could have an absolute field day with is the 50 days worth of content that we have for you with full episodes of stories just like these. Just go to iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever your favorite podcast app is, and search OK Storytime. Go on.
Go do that.
Have a field day.
Go do that.
And there is a little bit more, but wow.
Yeah.
That's sad.
That is really sad. I think what you can do from here, because it's like her taking this away from you is so indicative of like where your relationship is at. That it's like once you make it known like what she has done, and don't let her talk her way out of it. You say, no, this is my experience.
Yeah.
This is what I feel. This is how I think about it.
Yeah.
This is what happened. And then you go, and because of that, cutting you off.
Right.
And don't entertain anything that she has to say. Because it's your decision. And she literally ambushed you to do this to you.
Yeah.
When you were in the most tired, vulnerable state of your life.
Yeah.
And then she took away you like being the first person to like hold your baby and stuff.
Right.
Is that what?
Well, she said she was one of the first people, so I don't know if she was the first person to hold the baby, the mom.
I doubt it, right? They usually
I
give
doubt
it
it.
right to the
To the parents.
parents, but
right.
just
But
like,
either way, she didn't want her there at all.
right.
Yeah.
She
And it's the kind of thing, I feel like there's so many situations where people do that, where there's just like, well, I mean, you don't have to, like, I don't have to be here if you don't want me to, or like, oh, it's okay if you're mad at me. Like, you can say it, you know, so many situations where people do things like that.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, knowing the person you're talking to and knowing just social cues, you know that most people are not going to be like, yeah, I am mad at you, or yeah, I do want you to leave, because that's
Yeah.
uncomfortable.
Most people are going to be polite.
Yeah. So it's like, if you are assuming that they're wanting you out of there, you should just go. You should leave.
But OP's mom is clearly a
little manipulative. Looks like it. But we have a little bit more of this story. So, everyone I've told about the situation is furious on my behalf, especially my best friend and my sister. My best friend was willing to drive to my mother's house to yell at her, and my sister informed me that she told our mother not to visit until I was ready. Clearly, neither of us got through to her. I'm at my wit's end with her, but I really don't want to cut contact with her because that would also mean cutting contact with my brother. My husband has been an absolute saint when it comes to my mother, but even a saint has limited patience, and I fear we have reached it. I would love any advice from you guys, and I will try and get around to answering any questions you have. And that's it. That's the end of the story.
I'm moving across country without telling my mom because I know she'll try and stop me.
Can't stop me now.
So I, 22 female, am moving to New York City within the next 6 months with a friend I've known for the last 10 years. 21 female. Let's call her Carly.
It's with a C though, not with a K.
Well, they're probably trying to like be anonymous and do it with a C instead of a
Oh
K.
my, yeah, dude.
I currently live somewhere in the Midwest. I'm not telling where, just for safety reasons. But I have always planned to move to a different city where I felt I could accomplish my dreams better and connect more with the people around me. By the way, this comes from Cool Dinner 5111, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, for all of last year, I have been traveling across the country, even to the UK, to find the perfect city. It just so happened that one of the trips I went on, my friend Carly came along with me because she also wanted to see some cities she'd like to move to as well. We went to New York City and absolutely fell in love. I also know it could have been just because I was on vacation, because honestly, everything that could have gone wrong with the trip went wrong. Nevertheless, we still loved it. We decided that would be the city we wanted to move to about 4 months ago. And I have been working 2 jobs plus some side work such as selling art and clothes to save up for this move. Now that it's getting closer to the move, I have been telling some friends and family just so they're prepared. But I'm thinking about not telling my mom until the week of the move, or maybe not at all. For context, my mother and I have never had a good relationship. She is an immigrant and a single mother of 6. Currently, almost all of her kids are out of the house, except the 2 youngest twins who are in junior year of high school. She honestly doesn't have a good relationship with any of her kids.
Oh gosh.
Yoif. Her oldest child, 27 female, hasn't talked to her in the last 2 years.
Oh.
Poof. Our mom doesn't even know she's currently engaged to a great woman. The reason for this is because she's your textbook self-absorbed person. Anything we do, we're doing it to her. Like when I was failing classes during the vid due to stress and depression, all she could do was scream at me and ask, why am I doing this to her?
Oh my gosh.
She also has a lot of double standards between raising boys and girls. And if you knew what country she was from, this would be normal. But she has always put more pressure on her 3 girls on taking on more responsibility than her 3 boys. Part of the reason my older sister doesn't talk to her anymore is because of this. I could imagine that amount of pressure she went through. My mom is also not much of a loving mother. She has probably told me she loved me twice before.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
And it's probably after you
Oh.
did something amazing.
ouch. I can only remember hugging her once, and she really doesn't show sympathy to anyone, ever. Other family members know this about her and tend to stay away, such as all of my cousins and half of her own siblings. On the other hand, I know the reason why she's like this. It was really hard for her family to get to America. It's pretty obvious she suffers from PTSD and other traumatic conditions. And from the few stories I've heard about her parents, they were simply monsters compared to her. And on top of that, raising 6 children alone as an immigrant after your partner leaves when you're giving birth to twins can be very hard on a person.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
She also has helped me when I needed a place to stay for 6 months. I used that time to save on rent by getting to travel the country and ultimately choosing to move to New York City. Although she did give me heck when I stayed with her by telling me I'm going nowhere in life and how I need to come up with a real plan in life. She let me stay for free. She has always pressured me to go back to school. She believes that the only way I'll be successful is by doing that. But I have just gotten out of the worst depression last year over school, and I think going back will only be a waste of time, mental health, and money. I also truly have a real plan when I get to New York City. My mom has already expressed to me how it hurt that one of her daughters has gone fully no contact with her, and how most of her kids don't talk to her about their lives. Girl, maybe time for self-reflection. Maybe we wonder why. Maybe we're like, why don't they talk to me?
Yeah, maybe look at the common denominator where every daughter
doesn't want to talk to you.
It's like, oh, I do not enjoy talking to mom. I do not enjoy talking to mom. I do not enjoy going to mom. What is the common denominator?
I wonder why.
Yeah.
And I just know she's going to feel hurt about me moving across country without telling her. I just get so much anxiety talking to her. I've told my cousins about this who personally know her. They believe I shouldn't tell her until the very last minute because she'll just try to sabotage my move. So am I the a-hole for not wanting to tell my mom that I'm moving across country? And there are some comments and I think an update, folks. But what do you think?
I had a friend do this where his mom was pretty controlling, and he went to New York City to grab a poster, a 7-foot poster.
Dang.
And came back home the same day. He did it in 24 hours.
Well, then she'll never know.
Tennessee to New York City.
Well, Opie is, I think, moving for full time. So
yeah, so in that scenario, one day, really good.
She's gonna know.
But forever, maybe give her a letter.
Yeah.
I think would be good if you don't want to talk to her in person. Because I understand if you're like, I cannot stay in contact. This is just she's gonna sabotage it somehow. I think leaving a letter would be perfect.
I think that you tell her when you're going. You know, you get everything in order. Make sure you have all the plans set. And then say, hey, I'm leaving. Maybe like give her a couple days notice, or
I'm going
like
to the
day
Big
off.
Apple.
Yeah, I'm going to the Big Apple and ain't coming back.
I don't think so. I think doing a letter if you feel very strongly that you don't want to have her sabotage it, because I think the mom would do something like where
What would she do though if you had everything set?
Whoever's car you're taking, she could do something to the
slashes
car.
Your tires.
Slash the tires.
Well, I think you park somewhere else.
Say you stole something, call the police on you, say you're missing.
Dang.
People get crazy.
Well, if you truly are that worried about it, then yeah, don't, send her a letter or whatever. But
leave a note.
I don't know if you want any sort of relationship with her. I think tell her. But.
Leave a note saying we will come back around this later. I need space.
Do the one with like the ransom with like the different letters from different magazines. It's like, your daughter's in New York City. Don't
never
try and
see
find
her
her
again.
Yeah.
Yeah. But there are some comments, folks. So comment 1, not the a-hole. If you're worried about her sabotaging your move in life, she's been at least emotionally abusive, then you have every right to keep information to yourself.
Thank you, commenter.
You seem like somebody who tries to be compassionate and understanding. I think that your outlook on your mom is a good one. She doesn't deserve to hurt. She's gone through a lot, and circumstances make being a good parent difficult. But that is never an excuse to guilt trip, control, etc. Her reaction to you getting the space that you deserve and may need is not your responsibility. If she is hurt that another child is moving on to healthier relationships, maybe she'll be more inclined to take a look at what's really going on. I'm sorry things can be so complicated, but it sounds like you have some amazing plans coming up. Don't let anybody stop you. Moving away also doesn't have to mean no contact. Heck, maybe you'll grow closer with the distance. That helps enforce boundaries. Good luck. And there is an update, folks. Do you have any thoughts before we get into that?
Go to the Big Apple.
Yeah, just
live
go.
your life.
Just go. I know I haven't responded to any comments and posts yet. I haven't been able to update sooner because I literally work all the time. I work about 70 to 80 hours a week. I get one day off every 2 weeks and all I do is sleep.
Goodness.
I know that sounds tough, but I haven't been more at peace in my life before. I know what I want and I'm actually able to make it happen. Just wanted to update everyone about some of my plans and things that are happening about the move. Rest assured that I have an actual plan. I have friends who live in New York in my industry and have at least 2 jobs lined up when I go there as backs for each other. And all this working will lead to at least $10,000 in savings when I go, not including the paid for travel and stay for 2 to 4 weeks before I can find an apartment. Yeah, leave. You gotta go. I will say my friend Carly that I was moving there with has dropped out from coming with me. That happens. It sucks, but it happens. She has an opportunity to go to school where she stays currently for practically free, and she's taking that option. Needless to say, that does make moving even scarier because I'll be doing it alone. But that won't stop me from chasing my dreams, and it shouldn't. Sometimes we have this like idea that, oh, we're going to go on this trip with her or like do something with her friends, and then you're faced with, oh, I got to do it alone, and you have way better, you make way better memories and outcomes than you
it's kind of
would
like meant
if
to
you
be.
had that kind of like hand holding going into it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what happened when I went to UCSD. I had to decide. I was like, wow, none of my friends are going here. I don't, I'm close enough to my parents, but I'm moving to a new town where I don't know anyone, and it's scary. But you figure it out, and you make new friends, you make new relationships, and your life is better for it.
That's
Yeah,
right.
fly from the nest.
Honestly, it helps me put into focus that I really wanted it more than I thought. Edit. Carly actually read my first post, and the comments helped inspire her to go back to school too.
All right.
I'm just bummed it's not with me. It also made me focus on what actual steps I need to take to get to my goals. So I have also decided to go back to school and redo my freshman year of college. Interesting. I have applied and been accepted for grants and scholarships. I'm not too worried about failing like last time because before the depression, the vid, and the over-abusive mother, I was a straight A student with a 4.0 GPA. Yeah, you got this. And seeing as none of those three things are happening anymore, it will be better this time. Absolutely. I'll be taking courses at a community college to not spend much money. I mostly decided to go back because the field I wanted to succeed in, I'll need more knowledge. This has nothing to do with anyone else but me. By the way, you know what does have to do with you guys? Listening to full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime. But there is a little bit left to this story.
Do we know what LP wants to do?
No.
Something
in New York City.
I think
She wants to go her own way, be her own person, and go back to school.
if I had to do it again, I wouldn't do school because I could have learned everything I know by myself.
I definitely would. I needed that structure. It was great for me.
Well, yeah, I mean, theater.
Well, theater and lit, though. I don't think you need to go to school for theater, but I think that I really wanted more. I was really looking for a more academic side rather than just like learning how to act. And I think that UCSD provided that to me.
Yeah, but I mean, just a bit. It might seem like she's going to medical or something like that. School, go for it. I think that's a good pivot instead of New York City right now.
No, she is going to New York. I think she's just also doing community college there.
Oh, great.
Yeah, I think she's still
both.
moving.
Okay,
Mhm.
yeah, go do it. It's scary, but you're gonna.
You got this.
It was scary moving to LA, but it's been like the best decision of my life.
The one thing that scared me for OP was like, oh, we went on what was like was it a 4-month or 4-week like excursion to New York and loved it.
4 week.
It was a 4-week and was like, I already know I want to move here. I was like, do you know how much it costs?
New
to
York
live
is
in-
expensive.
New York is one of the most expensive cities
It's
to live
so
in the
expensive.
world.
I thought Santa Monica was the most expensive.
No,
Not
New
even
York is
close.
the thing is that you might be paying the same that like I'm probably paying I'm paying less than my friend is in New York for what we have.
It's probably half of this room.
It is. I want to say her bedroom is from here to like the end of that desk and like maybe like to where you are. It's tiny.
I've been,
and
yeah.
she's paying more than I am.
But here's the positive of New York is the public transport.
Public transport, you're around a lot of stuff.
You don't have a car usually.
You don't need a car.
Usually.
Yeah, there's so much going on, but with LA you get way more space.
But again, OP might like that. But again, that's just life. You figure it out. But
Just
New
know going
York
in,
is-
it's gonna be expensive.
Yeah, I'll probably do the city life for the next like 5 to 10 years. I don't think I can do this forever.
I love this.
It's
this is all I got.
dude,
Yeah.
being able to like spread your legs and like shoot a firearm on your property and not worrying about what other people think
so
or
you
say.
don't want city life.
I don't.
You
No.
said-
Oh, I
thought you
thought
said you did.
Yeah, you said I do want city life.
I said I might do this for the next 5 to 10 years. Yeah.
Oh,
you know,
okay.
5 to
I
7
thought you
weekend
were
then.
saying like, oh, I want city life. Like this
No.
wasn't city life because
No,
it's not really
I'd like to
city
have my
life.
own land, be able to drive around in like 4Runner, have a dog outside. It's an outside dog. It just lives outside and that's all he does. And he takes care of the goats. That's what I want.
All right.
Yeah. This is tough. I feel constrained.
Also, knowing that I'm going alone, my mother would definitely not support my choice, even if she knew I'm going back to school. I will not be telling her until the week of me leaving, which is what I said.
Yeah, you said Gowan. I heard that
Uh,
little southern accent. I'm
I'm
Gowan.
going.
You dropped that G
I did.
real low.
I just looked at Angela. She said, "Did you say spread your legs, Riley?"
I did. Yeah, spread your legs out.
You want to see him do it?
Yeah, you just like you feel like you can do this.
Yeah. Maybe I'll send her the link to these posts. I have told all my siblings and cousins, and not too worried about them spilling the beans because not many of us talk to our parents. I've also asked them not to. I want to again thank everyone for supporting me in chasing my dreams, and I'm not even going to shout at them. Thanks, guys. And that is the end of that story, folks. I think OP knows what they want.
Good. And speaking about shouting out people, I'm going to look at that Facebook Messenger and see that person responded.
Folks, that is the end of that story. My mother-in-law kept insulting me, so I cut off her access to my baby.
You insult the mother, you insult the baby. Get away from my son.
I, 26 female, have been married to my husband, 27 male, for a little over a year now. We met 4 years ago when I was a student teacher and college student near his favorite pizza place, and we literally met walking on the same street. By the way, this comes from Remarkable P2170, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Sophia.
And I'm Angie.
And OP says, I've always loved my husband, but the problem is that we were in 2 different tax brackets before getting married. He comes from a family of money, and my mom worked 2 jobs growing up. It's literally luck that we met, because if the system had their way, I'd be relying on government assistance to live. No offense to anyone who does, considering that's how it was for my mom her entire life. Despite our different backgrounds, he never made me feel less than. Even before we got married, he made me feel like his money was also my money. From the moment I met his mom, she never directly made me feel unwelcome like in the movies, but the way she looked at me or the way she'd make comments disguised as jokes about my college choice really made me uncomfortable. I never brought it up, but as my husband and I got more serious, she got worse. Soon she started making outright rude comments against me, like saying I was stupid for going to college for early education because they don't make much money, or comparing me to her other daughter-in-laws who were nurses or in the business field. My husband has confronted her about it multiple times, but even then her behavior would only change for a few weeks before she slowly started the process again. Anyways, my husband proposed early last year, and we got married 6 months later at a beautiful vineyard with my dream dress. The entire day was perfect until she made her speech, which she started off with, "She's not the woman I had in mind, but she's the woman he loves." In contrast, my mom's speech was about how happy I am and how she cries happy tears every night because I found true love. My mother-in-law's speech ruined my whole night, but when my husband confronted her after our honeymoon, she apologized over the phone and sent flowers to our house. 3 months ago, I found out I was pregnant. Congrats! And I'm so excited for this chapter in my life. My husband has already wanted to be a father, so he's already begun buying baby stuff and sending me pictures of what he wants the nursery to look like. We told his family during their bi-weekly family dinner last week. While everyone seemed happy, we all held our breath, waiting for his mother's reaction. Play the happy grandmother-to-be facade, but 2 days ago, my brother-in-law's wife, who I'm close to, sent me the message that another brother's wife had forwarded to her. They showed my mother-in-law stating that she's disappointed in him and that now I'm stuck in their family. And you suck.
Yeah.
She's stuck and you suck.
Yeah, exactly.
I almost cried, but I didn't. Because while I was disappointed, I wasn't surprised. I told my husband about it, and he's already confronted her again. She once again apologized. My husband and I agreed that if we hear anything else from her against my pregnancy, then we'll go no contact, which I think is needed.
Yeah,
that is
honestly.
necessary.
Yeah.
I mean, just like if your husband every time has confronted her and you guys have seen no actual change, then
Right.
relationship, it's over.
There's nothing else you could do about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Since my husband is the oldest and will be giving her the first grandchild and starting the new generation, and will be giving her the first grandchild and starting the newest generation of their immediate family, we knew this would cause issues. After telling my sister-in-law about our decision, she said I should distance myself, but keeping a grandchild from her might not go over well. Still, both my husband and I have already agreed. Now, I don't know. Am I the a-hole since she already apologized? There are some comments and an update, but you haven't done it yet.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you haven't done it yet. You're
Right.
still giving her an opportunity.
Right.
She just probably won't take it.
Yeah, exactly.
So no, you're not the a-hole.
Yeah, definitely not.
Commenter 1 says, not the a-hole. Check with a lawyer about parental versus grandparent rights in your local jurisdiction. If there are no grandparent rights she can sue for, prep to block her and anyone else that she sends your info to. Be prepared on both of you. Make sure there is nothing she can do to you or your children. OP says, fortunately, we live in Florida, so according to my Google searches that you gave me the idea for, she can only really do anything if we're unfit or absent, if I'm reading it correctly, of course. Commenter 2, not the a-hole. She made a meaningless apology and has continued to badmouth you to the rest of the family. Restricting her access to your child is the way to go. Your mother-in-law is a toxic in-law to you. Read the book by Susan Ford, and your husband might want to read her book about toxic parents too. You have to understand how damaging a mother-in-law like this can be to a child. Since you and your husband are on the same page here, you may want to spend some time with a therapist to help you with your strategy to avoid having her as a malevolent influence in your lives. OP says, I only feel bad because my relationship with my grandmother really shaped me, even when she and my mother weren't on the same page all the time. And all I want is for them to have that same relationship. Where is OP's father-in-law in this whole situation, and can he intervene? OP says he is here and he's a decent guy, but he's more of a happy wife, happy life type of person, so the most he does is change the subject if a joke gets too bad. And there is an update, folks. 2 days later.
Oh, wow.
Any
Fast.
thoughts?
I don't really know what else there is to do, really.
Yeah.
Honestly. So I feel like, especially since you're pregnant.
You're pregnant.
Now,
you're busy.
Yeah, you can't risk, if this is causing you so much stress, that stress, if it gets too bad, it
Not
can
good.
complicate the pregnancy. So I feel
Yeah.
like, even if it's just for a little bit or something, that you don't talk to her, maybe do that.
I agree.
While you're pregnant.
While you're pregnant. You don't want to stress. Update. Since my post, my mother-in-law has spoken against me again. This time she commented that I will be slowly endangering my baby because I told my sister-in-law about the vaccines doctors recommended during pregnancy. My mother-in-law overheard and decided it'd be a good idea to gossip about me on the phone with her sister. Word got around, and eventually my sister-in-law told me what was said. This did hurt a bit because as a first-time mom, I just want to do anything to help my baby. My mother wholeheartedly disagrees with her and said that she got every vaccine that was recommended when she was pregnant with both me and my siblings, and I got every vaccine growing up, including my flu shot. I'm perfectly healthy. I told my husband about it, and he officially sat his mother down today and told her what would be happening. He explained that her actions have been unacceptable for far too long, and that she'd have no access to me or our baby until further notice. There we go. That means no more attending family dinners, vacations, events, etc. I told her that any information she gets about the baby will only be because I agreed to give it to her, and it'll go through my husband or sister-in-law. She did not react very well and said that we were very selfish for cutting off the relationship between a child and their grandmother, claiming a grandmother is just as important as a mother. I reminded her that my mother is still alive and only lives an hour and a half away, so my child will still have a relationship with their grandmother. We've since come home, and my sister-in-law told me that my mother-in-law has already told both her and a few other family members, while she, her husband, my husband's brother, and another sister-in-law have attempted to defend me. It's not a lot of people in my corner, but I hope you could be in our corner by listening to full episodes with stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime. There is a little bit left to the story, but do you have any final thoughts?
I'm glad that the husband sat down with her.
Yeah.
Glad that she is finally understanding. Well, hopefully she's understanding that that's actually what's going to happen. It's not something that we're just saying and then
no, you will lose contact with your grandchild.
This is happening, and you can apologize to make it better, maybe.
Yeah.
And maybe act differently, but otherwise we're not gonna forget. So,
that's how it is.
Glad that was said.
Me too. I'm glad your husband is on your side.
Yep.
Because we don't get a lot of stories where that happens.
Exactly.
OP continues, my husband's father has since called him and said that while he isn't required to always get along with his mom, we're all still family, and he shouldn't take her only grandchild away from her. because of a disagreement, as family argues all the time. It's very hectic right now, but I'm sure everyone will recover. Thanks, everyone, for your advice and words. And OP on her sister-in-law's thoughts on the situation. My sister-in-law is a registered nurse after studying nursing during college, and one of her professors was a retired pediatric nurse. She has so many horror stories that her prof told her about children who came in with horrible diseases. She has so many horror stories that her professor told her about children who came in with horrible diseases that would have been avoided with just one vaccine. She's 1,000% on board with me, which is why I'm not as crazy as my mother-in-law wants it to seem. OP shares thoughts on differing opinions regarding raising the kids in today's generation. OP says differing opinions are fine about things like whether or not a child should have an iPad, bedtimes, and clothes. But to me, vaccines aren't an agree to disagree thing, as it directly impacts the health of my baby. Even if she didn't agree with me, the reason she was cut off was because of the fact that she quite literally said, "I'm slowly unaliving my baby." What first-time mother or any type of mom wants to be told that? OP explains the relationship between her mother-in-law and her husband's paternal grandma. OP says the crazy part is that her mother-in-law, God rest her soul, was her worst enemy. I only met the woman maybe once or twice, and then went to her funeral just 3 weeks after my husband and I's first-year anniversary. She hated her so much that she didn't even seem remotely sad from her passing, and just stroked her husband's hair as he cried. They had a family meeting at Granny's house after the funeral, and when everyone was sharing moments, she had nothing nice to say other than the basics. Generational trauma, I guess. And commenter says, a grandmother is just as important as a mother. Not at all. Good grandparents are a bonus. Bad grandparents are how generational trauma is carried on. You are not keeping your child away from her. You are protecting your child from her. Glad you and your husband are on the same page. And that is the end of that story. I refuse to break no contact with my mother, even though I'm hospitalized.
Stay strong.
Trigger warning, mentions of abuse. I, 22 female, and my boyfriend, 23 male, moved in together last year. I moved away from the city where my mother lives with my 2 younger sisters, 15 female and 21 female. After many years of emotional, psychological, verbal, and even physical abuse, I finally went no contact with my mother. From the time I was about 14 to 17, the police were always at my house dealing with mine and my mother's domestic disputes. By the way, this comes from Bunny Baby Mama, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Sophia.
I'm Dakota.
I'm Carly.
And we try to give our best advice, but we haven't experienced most of these situations ourselves. So if you have, let us know what you would do in the comments. And OP says, after my parents divorced, she had a lot of misplaced anger that seemed to find its way to me. I understand that I wasn't perfect, and I did do some bad things, but I was a child who didn't have her life skills yet, and I have grown. She hasn't. After many years of being no contact with my father, I ended up moving in with him for 3 months at about 18 because one of mine and my mother's newest fights. It only lasted 3 months because my dad is not a very good person, and his girlfriend, now wife, was somehow worse. I got an apartment, but my mother needed to co-sign since it was my first place. However, she never failed to use it against me when I didn't tell her or give her exactly what she wanted, threatening to cancel my lease and basically make me homeless since I couldn't afford a new damage deposit. Everybody in my family says that she did this out of the kindness of her heart, that co-signing was something most parents would never do. That's a lie, while conveniently forgetting the fact that it was used against me for years. That's why I'm here looking for unbiased opinions. A year ago, we finally had a big blow-up fight while I was looking to move in with my boyfriend, and I finally let her break the lease. Moving in with him has been so unbelievably freeing, and we are so happy. It was even more peaceful because my mother decided to give me the silent treatment, hoping that would drive me insane, when in reality, it was extremely peaceful. About 6 months later, she finally stopped giving me the silent treatment and instead made a group chat with me and my 2 sisters, trying to coordinate a family picture. I said yes for my siblings, And since me and my boyfriend were going to be taking some couples photos anyway, we decided we would go together. She told me she wanted everyone to wear brown, so I ordered a brown dress and found my boyfriend a brown sweater.
Brown.
After a couple of weeks, she decided to change the color scheme and ordered herself and my sisters matching dresses. Me and my boyfriend did not match, making me the only one that didn't match in the family photo.
Well, it's okay. It's
You
because
stand out.
Now everyone's going to be like,
Who's that? Who's that pretty lady?
Who is that?
Then she went right back to ignoring me after this. This kind of thing was common, but I let it go and got some really nice photos with my boyfriend. There was a lot of family drama back in 2020. My grandpa was hospitalized and had open heart surgery, and the family constantly fought and kind of fell out of contact. But after 4 years, about 2.5 months ago, my grandparents decided we should all finally get together for a family barbecue. The entire time, my mother would shoot daggers at me every time me and my little sisters were laughing. She'd give me dirty looks, and whenever I wasn't in the vicinity, she'd start talking about me. Basically, she was the best friend to everybody there and was my biggest hater. 2 months ago, I completely cut contact because one day she messaged me out of the blue, demanding I give her login information for a digital marketing course that her and my aunt bought and let me use over 16 months ago. She accused me of changing the password and a whole bunch else. I was unfortunately working and told her I would look for it later. She then got extremely upset with me for not helping her when she needed help and not answering her after she ignored me for a year.
Yeah, wait, that is crazy that
Yeah.
like out of the blue she's like, "Give me the login for that thing. I know you changed it, you monster.
Give it here.
You're like, "Yeah, I have this thing called a job. I can't help you right now, but I'll do it later."
Sorry.
She goes, "Wow, real convenient, you demon."
Yeah, also did the 6 months and then let's take family photos.
Yeah, just
Weird.
weird energy.
I told her that she needed to be respectful or I wouldn't help her. And of course, she started making threats. She told me that she would have my phone number deleted. She put my phone number on her data plan 4 years ago after I asked her not to, because I wanted to switch it to my own. However, she insisted on getting me a data plan that would end up saving money. I told her that if she put my phone number on another data plan instead of helping me switch it over, I wasn't going to pay for it, and she said that was fine. But now, suddenly, she could use it as a threat. So, after multiple days of stalling, I was able to get my phone number transferred over to my account. She kept the data plan, and it will not mess with her rates. And my phone number is still mine. After telling her this, she absolutely lost it. So I told her not to contact me anymore unless there was an emergency or someone was in the hospital. She sent me a couple of angry texts with loose threats like, "I hope you won't need me, but I know better." And I haven't heard from her since. Now, here's where I need help figuring out if I'm the a-hole. A couple of days later, I went to the hospital to have a minor surgery scheduled. Instead, the doctor did it immediately, but completely butchered this minor surgery on my leg. 5 days later, I went back complaining of severe pain, and this doctor continued to brush me off and ignore me. 5 days after that, I was hospitalized with a staph infection. Sue that doctor. I had a whole bunch of other issues arise, and I was in the hospital for 10 days. And it's not like I didn't tell anybody. My boyfriend's entire side of the family knew I was in the hospital, even family that I wasn't close with. I decided that someone on my side of the family should probably know, so I called my grandma. She asked me if I was going to tell my mother, and I told her no, and explained why it was so complicated. She told me I was being silly and I needed to be an adult and tell her because that's what adults do. Adults do whatever they want. Obi doesn't have to call her mom. She's an adult.
She's an adult.
After a bit more back and forth, she dropped it. I asked her not to tell them since my little sister's birthday was the next day and I didn't want her to worry on her birthday. She argued and told them anyway. Throughout my hospital stay, I was constantly giving my grandmother updates. Every time she would tell me I needed to contact my mother and tell her I was in the hospital. And when I told her that talking to my mother was the last thing I wanted to do while I was high on pain medication, and the argument was still fresh, she told me I needed to be an adult and do the adult thing. She would not let this go.
But my mother is also an adult. Is
Why
she
is
not
she not
supposed
doing
to
adult
do
thing?
The adult thing?
Also, the adult thing here is for you to stop telling me what to do. because I'm an adult.
I'm an adult.
You can't boss me around. But that's why I called her. I did inform somebody. I did do the adult thing and told people I was in the hospital. And because she told my mother and my sisters, they already knew. But for some reason, I guess I didn't tell the right people. I understand that my condition was serious. 3 CT scans, on oxygen, had a tube put in my back and into my kidney,
Whoa.
staph infections and E. coli, etc.
Dang, they turned you into a cyborg?
Yikes.
Kind of
So
cool.
maybe-
Not gonna lie.
So maybe I should have contacted her despite everything. So am I the a-hole for not breaking no contact with my mother to tell her I was in the hospital? And there is an update. No. You're no contact with your mother. You told your grandmother and she told your mom, so your mom knows. She could come visit you if she really cared.
It's just kind of whack for your grandma to be like, now is the time you need to reconcile and deal with your mom while you're in the hospital with a tube in your kidney. What? No.
But there is an update. So before and after posting this, I was debating telling my family group chat about my hospital stay since my uncle's wedding is in a couple of weeks, and I don't want the shock of seeing my cane to take away attention from his wedding. I didn't want that attention on his day. And I love my uncles. I'm not crazy close with them, but never had an issue with them or their partners. We have no drama. So I sent a short gist of my hospital stay, recovery, and mentioned the cane. I didn't mention crazy details, just that my doctor messed up. I was there 10 days and I'm better. My uncles, cousins, and aunt-in-laws all said they were sorry to hear I was sick. Yes, my mother and sisters are in the chat. My mother hasn't said anything. My Nana sent me and my boyfriend a private message in a group chat with just the 3 of us to say she doesn't agree with the way I announced it. You can't win, OP. You literally told you do the adult thing, quote unquote, and tell people, and your grandma's still like, no, it just didn't have enough pizzazz.
That was wrong. You said it wrong.
She said that the right thing to do would be to message my mother and tell her the details and say I'm sorry I didn't tell her sooner. She told me I didn't have to answer again if my mother replied, while making it clear she still thinks it's stupid I'm cutting off my mother. I'm gonna stay no contact with my mother and am considering who I should put on low to no contact with me, since depending on who I choose, it would affect all my other family relationships. I already have to see my mother at family gatherings, which is fine since they almost never happen. But I'd almost definitely never see anyone if I extend the list. It's a lot to think about. And there is a second update, but do you have any thoughts?
It is a lot to think about.
Yeah.
I guess think about it.
I guess, yeah, figure out who you want to keep in touch with, who are like people that if you don't keep in touch with them, you lose even more people. You got to think about the politics.
I guess, it should be simple politics, though. Just being like, my mom literally gave me the silent treatment like a teenage girl.
Yeah, for a year.
For a year. Then reached back out to me, immediately accused me of being a trickster.
Yeah.
And now, like, again, didn't really care that I was in the hospital.
Yeah, didn't
even
make
after she
any
found
attempt to go visit OP or say anything, see how she is.
Yeah, it sounded like she was power playing, like, well, she should reach out to me.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, you don't need to contact that person and sue that doctor that gave you, like,
Agreed.
sepsis and, like, kidney, what?
E. coli.
E.
Sepsis
coli.
and E. coli.
He put the
Or
poo-poo?
no, staph infection.
Oh.
Update 2. I've had a lot of people tell me I should cut off my uncles and not go to the wedding because they never defended me. I won't do that, but here's why. While they never actually went to bat for me, I get why. My mother is very manipulative and made it look like I was a troubled child my whole life. And it's hard to argue with a self-absorbed person when you don't know they are self-absorbed. Especially when they all lived 3 hours away from us and we barely saw them. But my uncles have seen through it in the past. By the way, you can see more full episodes of stories just like this if you go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search Poke Storytime. But there is a little bit left to this story. Any final thoughts?
Do what feels right in your heart.
Do what feels right. You don't owe your mom anything. She's kind of made you feel guilty for everything your whole life. Just have the amount of contact that you think you can handle. My uncle getting married is only a couple years older than I am, 4 to 5 years older, and absolutely celebrates when I tell him my achievements. My middle uncle is the only one that understands that my 8 pets are family and doesn't hate them and even loves them, unlike my mother and grandmother. He's also the uncle that offered to give me a substance test to help me prove my innocence when I was 16 or 17 against my mother's allegations and lies about me doing substances. My oldest uncle has always tried to level with me and hear my side of things. While rare, it helped me in dark times. I won't be cutting them off because they are the best of my blood relatives and they have never given me a reason to not want them around. I can also tell they are on their own kinds of healing journeys and are good people. They've done more good than my own dad ever did. And that is the end of that story. And there is another story coming up, but good luck, OP, with your mom, and hopefully you can kind of limit contact with your mom and grandma, because they think they know how to, run your life, and you just got to say, no, 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 I'm making the choices here because it's my life. And
there's a new sheriff in town.
New
it's
sheriff
me.
in
and
town.
Also, I've been the sheriff this whole time.
My mother criticizes my parenting.
Well, maybe you should try it if you're so good.
I am a 33 female living in the UK. And my mother is 67 female. We are extremely close up until a couple of weeks ago. I have 2 sons, 3 and 1, and my mother and father watch them for me when I'm at work. When I'm not at work, I spent a lot of my time at my parents' house doing things with my mother. By the way, this comes from Annoydamus, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStories subreddit, where this one was submitted. It's one of our own babies. And we'll try to give our best advice, but we have not experienced most of these situations ourselves. So if you have, let us know your take in the comments. OP says, it's important to note that my mother and I have very different views on parenting. I believe in treating children with the same respect you would an adult and allowing children to express their feelings. My older son can get physical when he's upset, and being tired or hungry can exacerbate his emotions. I have been working really hard with him on this. I take him for timeouts, and I talk to him about other strategies to use, and we practice them together.
We should do that with Sophia.
We really should. Sophia, go sit in the corner for a sec.
I'm hungry!
Sophia,
That's enough.
that's enough.
Maybe you should eat more food before you come on the stream.
I was vacuuming the entire house, please.
Don't hit me.
Sounds like that's an
I
issue.
didn't have time to eat.
You're becoming very hormonal right now.
Oh no, don't say that.
Calm down.
He's a woman doctor.
I know what words to prescribe to her.
How's your boyfriend?
Did you get one yet?
Works every time.
No, I don't
dang.
started.
It's going to be 6 months until it actually works
No,
out.
it's not.
No, Riley, it works every time. Whenever she's in a grumpy state or mindset,
We
just
just
say,
gotta
"How's your
mention-
boyfriend?" And she just looks like that. Look, see?
I'm not.
Beautiful. She's not even hungry anymore.
Yeah, she's like, "What's food?"
She's thinking about that meat slice.
Ew,
Ew.
gross. Ew, that's gross.
Stop.
Anyway.
How's your boyfriend?
Beautiful.
Anyway,
Hey, calm down.
I'm calm.
I take him for timeouts, and I talk to him about other strategies to use. He's 3, so he doesn't use the strategies often or on his own. Sometimes
He's 3, so he doesn't quite understand the strategies that we're trying to use.
Sometimes he screams and cries, and it takes a while for him to calm down. I usually take him to a room and stay with him until he calms down, and we can talk about what happened. I let him cry until he's ready. Sometimes that takes 10 to 20 minutes. We have gotten to the point where he can take deep breaths once he starts to calm down, and his tantrums have reduced in time and frequency. It all started on my younger son's birthday a couple of weeks ago. My mother, myself, and my boys went out all to eat together and went for a walk. Afterwards, we were planning on going back to her house so the boys could nap and we could play games. My youngest will nap, but my oldest has recently been growing out of naps. We will have nap one day and not the next. When he does nap, we won't go to sleep until 9 or later, and it'll be rough. He will act up when he gets tired, hitting, kicking, or throwing tantrums. All normal toddler behavior. This has created a problem between my mother and me because she doesn't agree with how I handle his behavior. I've done a lot of research on parenting, and I believe that children should be allowed to have their feelings. I refuse to scare a child into not expressing them. We had talked about it previously and decided that I would step in and handle behaviors, so she didn't have to. On this particular day, I knew he wouldn't want to nap, so I asked Mom to drive him around in my car while I put my youngest down. She did for about 10 minutes, and he fell asleep. When I went to transfer him to a bed, he woke up. He was very upset and did not want to nap. I told him we were going to lay down together for a few minutes, and then we could get up. He did not want to nap anymore, so he started crying and screaming. I tried to stay calm. I knew it would pass when he was ready. I sat on the bed and told him that I was going to rest. My mom came in and tried to get him to calm down, which did not work. He needs time to get it all out, as we all do sometimes. She left, but stayed by the door. He opened the door, and she came in and picked him up. She laid him on the bed and started talking to him in a very angry tone, saying, "You better not wake up your brother." In my opinion, his brother is not his responsibility, and he wasn't in a place to understand where she was coming from. That's when I picked him up and told her I had it handled. She promptly responded, "Do you?" And I was taken a bit aback. So I clapped back with, "Well, what you're doing is really helping." Then she said this was happening way too often and it needed to stop.
Like a 3-year-old having some tantrums?
You mean a 3-year-old being
Have
a
you ever,
3-year-old?
Mother, did you forget about when your child was a 3-year-old?
I hate it when other people are trying to
Yeah.
parent your own kids. And it's like, dude, just
Yeah.
let me figure this one out, okay?
Yeah, man. Unless they're like hitting your kid or, hitting you. Something where it's like you're not parenting your child and someone's getting hurt or something like that.
Come on now.
Stop getting involved.
I'm assuming she was referring to my child having feelings. Like his feelings were too much and she wanted them to stop. I told her we'd leave, and we did. Later that day, I texted her and apologized for escalating the situation and told her we would take a break from coming over to her house. I also offered to answer any questions she had about my reasoning behind the way I parented. She responded saying that parenting was hard, and even she questioned her own parenting. I felt like she had been judging me the entire time we'd been hanging out. She didn't just have a conversation with me about it. The next day, I did get an apology text where she admitted that she had overstepped.
All right. Okay. Improvement. Nice.
I like this.
Yeah, this is good. This is good.
I told her I appreciated the apology. My mom has always been terrible at apologies. They usually start with, "I'm sorry you feel that way." So for her not to say that made me think her apology was genuine. Fast forward a week, and I'm still upset. I can't quite figure out why, though. I had talked to my sister about the situation, and she said she had to stop hanging out with my mom when her kids were toddlers. She also said my mom brought it up to her and said I told them my boys have to follow my mom's rules at her house, but I don't make them. Even my sister said it didn't sound like a rule thing. I had my son's 1-year appointment and took both my boys, as my husband was sick. My oldest threw a tantrum while we were there. After the appointment, our pediatrician told me she was impressed with how well I handled both my boys and how calm I stayed. I told this to my mom, and I said it was nice considering she doesn't agree with how I do things. And she said we can agree to disagree. I may have been rubbing it in a bit, but it's also hard to feel like you're doing the right thing when your mother is telling you you're not. We went for a walk together the next day, but I didn't bring it up. The same weekend, my mother-in-law came to visit. I really love my mother-in-law. We get along great, and she's very sweet. We were at a family gathering when I spotted my mom telling my mother-in-law a story. My mother-in-law was looking straight at me, and then my mom pointed at me and continued telling the story. I love when people do that.
What?
Like they're like looking at you and they're talking. Don't look at that person. Yeah, like Keon the other day, he was like really acting weird. And don't tell him that though.
I'm always acting weird.
Yeah, that's strange.
It's like when none of y'all realized it was Jelly Roll.
I don't even know who Jelly Roll is.
I knew it was
before
Jelly Roll.
We saw
I knew it was Jelly Roll too.
I was like, oh shoot. And I just left the room.
He's like
Hey,
tall.
Jelly
He's much
Roll.
taller in person. Yeah.
They all are.
Everyone's tall.
Not I. No.
Tall to you, Keon.
Dang, man.
No, that's okay.
Okay.
Whoa, he's gentle parenting you now.
Oh no.
It's
It's
okay.
fine.
Talk it out.
I can't change my height.
You can't.
True.
And I love that about you.
That's why I got good charisma.
That's right.
Mhm.
And a great personality
And two
too.
11-year-olds have a crush on you.
Two?
The
That was one.
11-year-olds.
I thought there was one. Oh.
No, it's 2.
Oh. Well.
Wow.
Yeah.
They're multiplying. At the end, my mother said, "Enough is enough." And my mother-in-law politely agreed, and they stopped talking. I was pretty sure I knew what she was talking about. I didn't mention anything to my mother-in-law about the fight between my mother and me because why would I? And you can mention any fight you want to on your favorite podcast platform. Just search up OK Storytime and hit the audio button, play, and you can talk with us on 73 days worth of stories on iHeartRadio, Spotify, or Apple.
Come on over.
Sophia, what do you
Yeah.
think they're talking about here?
I think you got to set more boundaries with your mom and say, hey, Mom, I know that you're trying to be helpful, but this is my child. So if you can't listen to our boundaries, then you can't be around the kids.
Yeah. Information diet.
Yeah.
Hanging out diet. I think that's smart. Like, hey, we're not going to come around for a little bit.
Yeah. You clearly don't like having my kids over, so.
Yeah. Yeah. You think his emotions are too much.
Yeah.
I'll just stop.
I'll just not bring my kid over.
Hop on the band. And we got Carly getting on to Keon for not getting him miso soup.
Dude, I want miso soup so much, Carly. I want miso soup.
Wow.
Then why don't you date her and take her?
Yeah, let's go get
Yeah,
miso
just-
soup.
Oh, you can take her then.
You can take her.
Well, actually, I want miso soup.
No, you
You
said it.
you haven't gotten
already
any
said
yet
it.
either.
Too late.
So to end the story, the next morning, I decided to ask my mother-in-law about the story my mom was telling her. She said she couldn't remember, and I gave her the details I heard and saw. She said she couldn't remember. Then I asked her if it was about my son, and she said no. I then asked if she really didn't remember or if she was just trying not to get in the middle of it. She stayed quiet, which gave me my answer. Now I'm not sure what to do. My mother seems like she doesn't want to talk about things, which is very normal for her, but I can't get over things until I've talked about them. I'm currently being polite to her when she reaches out, but I have no intention of hanging out with her. She does watch my boys for me twice a week, but my husband drops them off and picks them up, so I will not see her unless it's arranged. And advice, please. Advice, please. We have some comments. Nah. What are our comments here?
What are your comments?
I
I've
wanna
already
know
said my
yours
comments.
first.
I've already said my comments. I don't have anything else to say.
Seems like the ball is in your mom's court.
Yeah.
If you're okay with not talking to her, don't talk to her until she's ready. If you really want to talk to her, just bite the bullet. Reach out.
Have a
Can
little
we talk?
combo.
I don't like,
Mom.
let's have it all out. Talk to me like an a-hole, okay? What do you not like about my parenting style? What do you not see? And OP, I know you know what's happening, and I know you're able to confirm with all your research that you have of why you're doing the things that you're doing. And she might just think of it like an old traditional style. Like, oh, this is how things should be. Oh, this is how it is. If you just give her,
Probably.
and she's probably afraid to see some reasoning there. Package it up and send it to her.
Yeah.
Just have it out. I think you guys need
you
to
could
have
have you could have a conversation, but yeah, she definitely is being a little annoying.
it. Yep.
I want to lock my mother-in-law out of our house because she keeps barging in.
You know what? You should just lock her in.
That's right. I, 33 female, and my wife, 38 female, currently live with her mom, 75 female, while we save for our own place. We're grateful to be here and try to be respectful, but we've hit a wall around privacy, boundaries, and my mental health. By the way, this comes from user Veteran Lurker 4213. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Dakota.
I'm allergies with Keon.
And we're here to give you some good advice, goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we would do. So if you would do something different, let us know in the comments. As OP says, here is the layout for context. My wife and I live on one side of the house that includes an upstairs, 2 bedrooms, 1 bath, and a downstairs with a living room. The only shared common space is the kitchen. Our side was an add-on built before the house was purchased. Legally not separate, but it functions like its own unit aside from the kitchen. Her bedroom is directly down the hall from our living room. My mother-in-law's side includes her bedroom, another bedroom, 2 bathrooms, her living room, dining room, and she also uses the shared kitchen from time to time. I have 2 dogs. One is older and my retired service dog. The other is a young puppy who is in training to become my new service dog. He sometimes barks briefly, less than a minute, in the morning after sleeping for 6 to 7 hours in his crate. We've been training him consistently to minimize this, but mornings are hard because it's the longest he's contained, and he's a good puppy who holds his bladder for that long. My mother-in-law started complaining about the barking. At his age, it's normal for there to be some barking, especially in the early morning. However, I understand her concern. So to help, we offered to pay for and install a door at the hallway to create more separation and reduce sound. At first, she refused, saying families don't put up doors.
What?
Well, that's a weird saying, right?
I think it's walls. You're looking for walls.
The doors can open.
Doors can open and close.
She thinks that a door means she's unwelcome and acted like it was an insult to even suggest one. After a long talk, she agreed, in theory, to consider it. And here's where it gets sticky. Even though this whole thing started with the noise complaint, there are a few more factors into wanting a door. I have PTSD from my time in the military and childhood trauma, including foster care and abuse. I've worked with my therapist to communicate how not having a door and being surprised, overheard, or walked in on without warning makes me feel unsafe in my own home. We set 2 rules. Announce herself before entering our living space, a simple, hey, do you guys have a second? And give us at least 48 hours notice before any guests or service people come to our side of the house. She continues to break both of these. She'll walk into our space without knocking or notice and immediately start talking. Recently, she brought strangers through our area without telling us. She walks her friends back into our side as part of her tour of the house because of the renovations she did while we were moving in. I have severe PTSD responses to all of these and have had to make emergency calls to my therapist. In any other apartment complex, this would be illegal, so I've never had to deal with this before. My wife and I are on the same page and explained these issues before we moved in. So I think given that you're living in your mother-in-law's house, I mean, even though it's like an addition and it's separate.
I was gonna say, yeah.
I think it's kind of a thing where, like, yeah, sure, legally, like if you were renting from a apartment complex, it wouldn't be the same, but like that's not really the situation you're in. I think it should be made very clear how much this impacts you to your mother-in-law, and it should
your
be
partner.
repeated multiple times because it's a boundary.
Especially since you have a history with this. It's not like, oh, I don't like it, or it's like, okay. I mean, yes, boundaries are huge, but this is like you have PTSD, and this is like severe for you, and this happens regularly. It's kind of ridiculous. So, but again, it's the mother-in-law's house.
Yeah, it's kind of like, I don't know how much rent, if any, you're paying. I know you said you're saving up for a house, so it's like, it's kind of just one of those byproducts of like living in someone else's house.
Yeah.
Essentially. And OP says, I have explained all of this calmly and clearly again when asking for the door and restating what we need. Her response, she called my PTSD my issues and said she doesn't want to change her house because the door makes her feel uncomfortable. She also thinks the door wouldn't help with the noise at all. She has now started texting me updates on how good or bad she thought the night was, even though nothing has changed. He barks a little right when I get up because he's excited, but otherwise almost nothing while in the living room. Yesterday, she complained again, even though there was no barking or crying at all from either dog. He was playing with his rope toys. That's the only thing I can think of that she could hear. She keeps trying to make it about the barking, but she has complained about being able to hear us in the living room for different noises, even though we don't listen to the TV super loud. No speakers, just TV speakers at level 9 through 12, depending on what we're watching. This makes the door seem like a win-win for everybody in the house, which is true. I don't know. Sounds like grandma doesn't understand how noise works, but if you put up a door, it's going to make the noise go down.
But she don't like the door. She doesn't like the doors.
The door can open.
She hates the doors.
Have you tried explaining to your grandma how the doors work?
Introduce her to Jim Morrison first.
Yeah. Now, my wife and I are seriously considering installing a lockable door and enforcing stronger consequences like refusing access to our space if we aren't giving proper notice, which I don't think you should or can do.
Sorry. Again, it's just like, it's her house.
Just focus on saving up for your own place.
And get out of there, yeah.
Mother-in-law now says we are being cold and ungrateful. Yes, we pay rent.
Okay.
And electricity to her monthly. Am I the a-hole for wanting to install a door? And there are some comments. Comment 1, the problem is both sides are valid. Your issues are your issues, and her issues are hers. But as she owns/leases the house, you can't install something like that without her approval.
Yeah.
Your solutions are either move to another apartment or accept her terms. Perhaps explaining to her that you are looking for another apartment with more privacy will make her think that she would be unable to rent out your side to someone else, even with a door, because who wants to share a kitchen with their landlord? But you would need to be willing to move out. Comment 2 says, how does the rent you pay compare to rent for similar properties? How likely would it be for her to rent an apartment with no separating door and no kitchen? Does she actually need the rent money? Do you help her with any day-to-day living tasks that she needs to remain in her home? You have no right to install a door in her home, period. It sounds like you and your wife need to find another place to live now. OP says, we do pay less than getting an apartment. I have no idea what stranger would be okay with this arrangement, assuming that multiple people would possibly be renting the space. We were originally in the detached EDU. We pay more for rent and utilities now that we're in the main house. She doesn't need the rent money. She's relatively independent, but we do help keep the place clean, especially the kitchen, since I'm the one that uses it the most. I take out the trash and clean the backyard on a regular basis since the dog uses it the most. I think some important context here is that we would never install the door without permission. We talked to her about it, of course, and we aren't just going to do it without her approval. We simply offered to pay for a solution to everyone's problem. This would solve the noise issues on her end and give me the sense of privacy that I need to feel safe. We offered to pay for the whole thing, but that wasn't the issue. She took it as a personal attack on her. The underlying thing here is that she probably feels lonely, and she keeps saying, we're family. This is fine. Without the door, I'm literally just asking for her to say, hey, do you have a second, before walking into the living room and asking questions or starting a conversation. She also said that she shouldn't have to do that. The door is an escalation of these simple asks. We have another update.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, it just sounds like your mother-in-law is really not understanding of your own
boundaries, but where is your partner in all of this? Like, yes, you're adults, but this is your mother-in-law, but I feel like it's so hard because you're making requests, but again, it's at the end of the day, I feel like she's helping you guys out. OP said that they're paying full rent or like a little bit, like not.
I mean, they're paying less rent than they would be paying at an apartment.
Yeah, I feel like this is like you take what you can get with this kind of thing, but you can only ask for so much. It's just like it's a hard situation because again, with everything factoring into it. But imagine just being a tenant and like requesting your landlord for more and more.
Well, yeah, it's like take all the other stuff out of it. Just take it. It's like the relationship between you and your mother-in-law and your partner. That's their mother.
It's like
just be like, hey. Why are you?
It's your landlord roommate, pretty much, and you're like,
you just want to be like, this is my wife. She has these issues, and don't you want my wife to feel comfortable and like not trigger her PTSD?
Then I want to feel comfortable. It's my house,
right? Well, we're not asking you to be uncomfortable. We're just asking you to just literally announce yourself before you walk into the living room.
That's too much for me,
such
sweetie.
A small,
sweetie. I think that's too much. That's too much to ask for me. Everything can be okay.
Oh no, because she has PTSD, Mom.
I don't think that's a thing.
Right, and so then
that's her problem. That's her problem, not my problem.
Right, and then it just becomes okay. Well, I don't know if I'm gonna be cool with my mom just like not acknowledging my partner's PTSD. Yeah. We have an update. Yes, she knew about the puppy in advance. I asked her about it months before I even looked for a breeder. I asked her permission very far in advance. The only time he barks in the crate is 10 to 45 seconds while I'm putting on clothes to take him downstairs to go outside. Yes, we are working on this. It has unfortunately become his morning ritual, so we are working on trying to break it. I've been getting up 15 to 20 minutes early to catch him before he starts barking so that I can break the cycle and he can learn to stay quiet and calm. Otherwise, he's quiet after that. He doesn't cry or bark in his crate otherwise for the rest of the morning, day, or night. My mother-in-law does renovations in the house regularly. I would never put a door in without her permission. I have a curtain up and a baby gate up as a compromise, but she says that just that makes her feel unwelcome and like a giant keep out sign. The baby gate is to keep the dogs on our side, and the curtain is for privacy, to keep our light in the living room out of her bedroom, since it's down the hall in the early morning. However, this curtain is open most of the day so that she doesn't feel like she can't come over. And by the way, you can come over to listen to full episodes of stories like this on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and wherever you listen to podcasts. Just search OK Storytime, and you can listen to them all. A plethora.
We'll leave that door open for you.
And we have a second update. Let's finish this story. It seems a lot of you think we're freeloaders, so here's some more context. Mother-in-law asked us to move in after we said we needed more room and we're looking at places. Mother-in-law wanted to get rid of the other tenant who was living there because they had issues and did not get along.
I wonder why.
Door might solve a lot of those issues. She needed family to move in to be legally able to do this. We were involved in all the renovations while living in her living room for the first 3 weeks we moved in. We pay rent. In fact, we're paying twice as much as the previous tenant was paying for the unit. It's still worth it and definitely not complaining since it's still less expensive than getting a place to rent. She wanted us close because she wanted family in the house. We do not need to live here. But since we were so involved in the renovations, like helping move things and painting, and driving to and from the hardware store. I don't think the door request was all that odd. Mother-in-law even specifically asked us to live there at least a year so that everything would be legal in case the old tenant checked up to make sure she wasn't lying. And that's the end of that story.
Stepmother tried to make me her live-in nanny, and it ended in chaos.
You'd be a live out nanny.
Hey, am I the a-hole? I'm 19 female and in school. I go to college in the city I grew up in, and I'm getting my bachelor's, but I live at home to save money. My parents aren't together and had me pretty young, so they didn't really have anything saved for me. I have a smattering of scholarships, and since I don't need to pay rent or anything like that, I have no loans. Nice, good for you. By the way, this comes from user Mystical Ferret, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Keon.
I'm Carly.
I'm Sophia.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we do, so let us know what you do in the comments. Please. As OP says, I was always week on, week off with my parents and have continued that. A few weeks ago, my mom and stepdad, 35 female and 40 male, told me they were finally expecting a baby after years of trying. I was so happy for them until they told me I couldn't keep living there as they need to focus on the baby, and there wouldn't be enough room for me. They do have enough room, but I know having a baby is a lot, and it's my stepdad's first baby. Plus, they were nice when they asked. It wasn't like, get the F out, we're replacing you. I love them both and want them to have time for themselves and their baby. So I asked my dad, 35 male. He told me I could of course live there full time. I guess he didn't talk to my stepmom, 42 female, about that because when I showed up, she was pretty unhappy.
Uh-oh.
They have 2 kids of their own, 8 and 6, and she has 2 kids, 14 male and 16 female, still in high school. I share a room with her daughter when I stay there, but her kids don't see their dad, so they're always there. I've always gotten along with everyone and consider her kids my siblings. Like if I'm not in school or working, I'll go to their sports games or take them to shows or movies or out to eat and pay for it. They're really sweet, but pretty shy. And the younger ones are little. I don't do much with them because they're barely even people so far.
6 and 8, they're
People.
people.
You can hang out with 6 and 8-year-olds and
6 and 8-year-olds are pretty cool.
yeah, they have some pretty interesting takes.
They have some great takes.
Like what's going on in life, and they'll tell you like
Ask them about the universe.
it's very wild, their imagination.
They've got theories, man.
Yeah. But yeah, my stepmom wants me to either start paying rent, $500 a month, or take on a bunch of additional chores.
OP. $500 a month. You said that with an exclamation point. Like, that's a lot.
Yeah.
That is nothing, especially for someone who does not have loans.
Or take
And
on
with the additional other option of just, hey, do some chores and you
doing
won't even have
chores,
to pay
maybe
that.
a little bit more. I will.
And then you can save that
I will do
$500
that.
a month.
Could I live
These
there?
are great options. Are they taking applications? I'm applying.
Please and thank you.
Please.
For the record, I do chores, of course. I always have, but she wants me to do things like driving all 4 kids to and from school so they don't have to take the bus, make their lunches, and help them with their homework, in addition to my existing chores of cleaning all the bathrooms and doing the yard work.
Yes, that is what additional chores are.
I feel like with all this going on, I feel like some of those things, like making their lunches, I feel like if you do like not all of them, but I'll do like
Right, it might just
some.
be helping out.
Yeah,
a
just
little bit.
helping out.
Like, hey, I didn't get to make their lunch today.
Like make a sandwich. Making a sandwich.
Right. If lunches are just like a sandwich or like maybe even just like throwing snacks and stuff into a bag.
Oh yeah, that's honestly sometimes that's really fun. Have you seen
Right.
those videos?
They'll
And I
get so
guarantee you,
fit.
like to
The
all our
packing
moms there,
ones.
yeah, they love
Yeah.
packing the lunches, and they're like, let's make it really fun today.
I just feel like it's like driving them, making their lunches, and like cleaning one more thing when all you're doing right now is yard cleaning
And
and
help them with
bathroom
homework.
cleaning.
I feel like helping with homework is also just
Hey,
like
sometimes that homework can be hard. But yeah,
don't ask me to do the math.
don't ask me to. Listen, in 5th grade, I remember bringing home algebra, and my parents looked at me like, "What the heck?"
Yeah, I feel like the chores is fine.
I think
feel
that
like
there
the
could
rent
be a
is little
thing of
much.
like, hey, if I start school and I'm like super overwhelmed, maybe we could cut back down on that. But that's not something that's become an issue yet. But it wouldn't be wrong to be like,
Until OP's
this
settled
is
it.
my concerns about what could
Yeah,
go wrong.
yeah. But let's go ahead and keep reading the story.
Yeah.
I asked if we could compromise and I could take the older ones to school in the morning on my way to class. Their school is kind of on my way to school, while the little kids' school will add 40 minutes of driving and help them with homework. but I can't pick them up after school because I'd have to leave my school to do that and then come back for my labs and study groups.
Okay. I was also thinking that the kids were going to the same school already.
Yeah.
So that's 2 different schools. Yeah, perfectly valid.
Right now, I stay on campus basically from 8 to 6, but she wants me to leave in the middle of my day, and on some days, I even have class at that time to pick them up and bring them home. And making lunches for 4 picky kids, plus my dad and stepmom, just sounds like a lot on top of school. I also work 35 hours a week,
Oh, dang.
mostly on weekends, granted. My dad thinks it's a good compromise, but my stepmom doesn't and won't stop being mean to me, or telling me that she has had an emergency and I need to drop everything and pick up the kids when the emergency is that she felt like going to a networking happy hour, which happened yesterday. I feel like such a nuisance, but I know I'm saving money living here. I don't want to tell my mom any of this and stress her out. My stepmom keeps saying it's my mom's fault, but when she had my younger siblings, I only came over every other weekend, gave them space to be a new family because it's what she wanted. I just feel like none of this is fair, but also like I'm the biggest burden in the world. My dad says I don't have to pay rent or do the additional chores,
Oh, word then.
but I don't want to cause issues in their marriage. Am I the a-hole for just doing some of the new chores my stepmom wants me to do? And there is an edit, so before we get into the edit, what do you think?
Yeah, it was a bit more than I was expecting that they were asking. They should not be taking you away from your schooling, because that's the most important part. Like, you need to be able to go to your classes and actually, like, learn what you need to learn
Yes.
for your
If
degree.
OP was being like, no, I want to go party, I want to go
Right.
do this, it's one
It's
thing.
because you're going to school and
Yeah.
your job,
Yeah, if this
which
is
is crazy.
if this is negatively impacting or hindering your studies or your school, then that's problematic. But
Yeah.
I think if you can,
I don't think
do a little
that-
bit chores here and there, that's one thing. But if
Yeah.
it's like you got to do all the chores, drop everything at a dime for the kids because you are the babysitter now, and you're like,
Yeah,
I didn't
not
sign
at
up to be
all.
that.
I think no chores and some rent, though, is a fine compromise.
Yeah, but we have an edit. I put in a comment, but I'm really sorry. I'm sorry I was so argumentative last night. I haven't been sleeping well and have been so stressed out and sad. I got some sleep and talked to my dad, and he's going to handle my stepmom.
Nice.
Luckily, they're not legally married. He let her move in when she got pregnant because she was losing her place, and they had a ceremony in our backyard, but it's not legal. He did promise me he wouldn't punt her older kids out because they did nothing wrong, but he's been done with her behavior all summer and even before that.
Oh,
Ooh.
gee.
If I'm honest about my mom, it was always us, and then my stepdad came. He was so nice to me compared to my stepmom. They asked if I could spend more time at my dad's for a few months after their baby was born because they know I hate babies. That's probably why she doesn't get along with this
Doesn't
6
like
and
the
8-year-old.
6 and- Listen, they get pretty cool around that age, though.
Yeah. And I took that as an eviction and moved out immediately. Oh, I'm going to
Okay.
talk to my mom today. I've been kind of avoiding her and not going over there every other weekend like she wants because I think I'm being immature about the baby. Basically, in short, last night I was hungry, tired, and needed to touch some grass, and I'm very sorry if I was so witchy to everyone.
I think we missed some comments, probably.
Yeah.
We don't need them.
You're not you when you're hungry.
Yeah.
I am thankful for all of your advice, even if it was hard to hear, but I need to be a big girl and I need to talk to my mom.
Yeah.
We have an update. Let's go straight into it.
Yeah.
Basically, I'm in school. My mom and stepdad are finally having a baby. When my dad and stepmom had their kids, I lived with my mom and stepdad. I was 50-50 with my parents before this, but moved in with my dad full time, and it pissed my stepmom off. She has 2 kids with my dad. Again, they are not legally married, and 2 teenagers, one of whom 16 female, I share a room with here. Neither of their dads are in their lives. My stepmom either wants me to do an excessive amount of chores or pay $500 rent to live here.
Why can't the 16-year-old drive the kiddos places?
Maybe that she doesn't have a car. Maybe she doesn't have a license or a permit, But again, I think 16 you still can't drive.
You can drive
yeah.
your siblings
Yeah.
usually.
Yeah.
Oh, for us, we could drive our siblings.
Interesting. Huh. It just depends
I
on where you
couldn't.
live.
I don't have any.
Yeah. I refused to do either of those, and my dad backed me up. So my dad and stepmom got into a huge fight over this. It started because my stepsister, who I've always been nice and welcoming to, threw a fit to her mom about sharing a room with, me. Please remember that this has always been my room. She moved in a few years ago and I never threw a fit. But she was just yelling at me. And her mom was backing her up. Also, she's a 16-year-old teenager.
Yeah, we can forgive the teen for that one.
Yeah.
Eventually.
I went to leave, and my stepmom took my car keys and told me I needed to get my stuff out of my bedroom and stay in the basement?
Get your stuff out of your room, go back to your mom's.
Okay. I laughed in her face and told my dad what happened. I think he finally hit his limit after everything with her and told her she needed to leave. She left to stay with a friend and has been there this whole past few days. But it's been so hard because now my dad and I have to pick up all her slack for the kids. So I feel like she was like, all right, I'll get out of here.
Yeah, you can do all those chores I wanted you to
Yeah,
do.
literally, she's like, it worked
She
to
still
my...
got her way.
Yeah, it worked to my liking.
Oh.
He wasn't going to punt any kids out, but made it clear to my stepsister that I would not be moving my stuff to an unfinished basement. I was pretty uncomfortable and went to see my mom. I told my mom everything, and she was absolutely devastated that I had kept it all from her. I feel bad. I know it's just an excuse for me to not stress her out while she was pregnant, and I think it was more so I was mad at her, which I know is immature. She said she knew I really can't stand babies and didn't think I completely move out full time with my dad. Just spend more time there. I actually feel really bad. My parents don't get along, and I've always treated them more like friends than people who I could lean on for support, and I think that was wrong. After I told her everything, my mom actually called my dad for the first time in years. It was crazy. She apologized to him, and then he said she shouldn't apologize. I thought I was living in the Twilight Zone.
Parent trap him. So
No,
kidding.
I think-
I'm kidding. She's happily married.
I think everyone's happily here,
It
yeah.
was a joke.
But you know what isn't a joke? You listening to full episodes with stories just like this one. Just go to your favorite podcast app, such as Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcast, and search up OK Storytime. It's not a joke.
Do it.
Go do it.
Do it.
There's a little bit left of this story. I think things are getting solved out.
Yeah. Parents are figuring it out to help you out, and I think you'll be back to a comfortable living space soon.
Yeah. Your stepmom, though, yeesh,
Yeah, she might not be coming back, which is fine.
that needs to be figured out, but that's
think-
not on you.
I think Dad figured that out already.
Yeah, that's on
She's
your.
out.
That's for your dad to figure out with
She's
your
gone.
stepmom.
Not coming back.
But let's go ahead and finish up the story. So, my stepsister went to my stepmom's friend's house to live, but my stepbrother, who is nice to me, wants to stay. And there's no room for the little ones at that house. My stepmom told my dad to figure it out. I get why she's mad, but they're still her kids.
Yeah.
My mom and stepdad said I'm not their parent and told my dad to ask them for help if he's going to ask me. When they used to have me babysit the little ones, I'd bring them to my mom's so she could help me. So they know who she is. I don't know what's going to happen, but I do see my parents differently now. Like I've always thought I was out for myself and I need to figure things out. Like when I got a speeding ticket, I found and paid for a lawyer. But when they found out and were mad, I didn't ask for help. I think I'm going to work on thinking of them as support and people who are there to help me and not people I owe things to. And that is the end of that story. Yeah,
Woo.
I think maybe your parents got separated, and I think since you were their only kid, and you have a lot of half siblings and step siblings, however, maybe that was just like a messy divorce, and you probably had to grow up really quick, and maybe you tried to lean on them as support, but they were going through a divorce, and that's really hard to focus on the child at that time when the parents split. So, and I think since then, Opie just did it all by herself. But I think you're an adult and they're adults, and that one sentence, you're like, they're more like my friends than my parents.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, you've done things for yourself for a while now.
Yeah, I think it's good that you reached out. Good that they're talking amicably, and hopefully that they'll help you out more when you need it and you feel like you can go to them more.
Yeah, I feel like just communicate to them your feelings, because your dad got your back immediately. It wasn't like, oh, let me talk to my wife about this, or your stepmom. He was like, I got your back, and it was pretty straightforward. So I think you have a good relationship with your parents, and I think you just need to see them as that, not as like friends. But I think you'll be all right. I think everything's gonna work out and you'll be fine.